Hey, how you doing? Happy New Year. This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I thought I'd do a New Year stream. I'm just going to do comics. I will put an invite here, and I'll put a star to it. And it's an open invite. It's New Year's. Join in. We'll talk about comics. Here is, of course, the standard disclaimers. Turn your camera on unless I know you very well. Oh, I thought this was wrong. Supposed to be like that. There you go. And I'm just going to talk about comics that I've read since the last time I did comics. So again, open invite. We'll talk about a few things. Here is a link to Heroic Tales 2 that's still available. Some covers are like the Renzo cover of the Patriarch Hold the Baby. That one is getting real low. The Mike Gustovich cover is getting real low. Of course, I didn't print that many. The Martina Markota Crenshaw cosplay cover is getting real low. So if you want to get in on them, now is the time. So, well, hey, Matt Barr. How you doing, Matt? I sent you an email. How you doing, Matt? Matt, come on in. Talk for a while. It's funny because this is the best New Year ever. Just sitting, me and my wife made she made the best lasagna in the world. I got one piece left, so I'm going to eat that for dinner. And then she just went and made like various cheese dips and onion dips and whatever, and spinach dips. So after the stream, we'll go upstairs and sit and watch the news and hope nothing happens. She had a good news. A woman in her church group was induced early for labor. She was up all day waiting for news, and the baby was born premature. I forget exactly how many weeks, but cute little baby. The doctor says it wasn't going to be able to eat on its own, but it's eating on its own. It's little Santino. So there we go. So even though it's not the New Year's yet, it's starting off on a good news. So my wife was worried about this baby, and she's in a good mood now. She's probably upstairs crying. Listen, hey, we got Tony Grigo. How you doing, Tony? How's everything? Happy New Year's. We got Garfield's Bizarre Adventures. Happy New Year's, Bizarre Garfield. How's everything? Speaking of lasagna, right? Again, here's the link for anybody if they want to pop in and talk with me. And got off work early, going to relax and kick back. Yeah, I got off. Today was a good day at work. Got to work. I always try to get to work half hour early. That's just the way I am. And we just we normally have a coffee break, then we have a lunch break, but we combined them all together into one break, and then basically after break just cleaned up and went home. It was a nice day. It was a nice day today. Good day for work. I can't complain about work. Dale, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year to you too. I'm gonna show you something. You guys will be the first ones to see it. It's not so much a spoiler, but it's something. It's promotion. I was told to show it off. Why can't I find it? Of course, that's the way it always is. Come on, load. All right, while that's loading, we'll talk. Oh, holy moly! Stop the presses. I always get a little embarrassed, little shy when people super chat me. Not that I'm discouraging it, but I'm still new. So thank you. I don't know. I as you can see, as a New York, Irish, Catholic, Italian, compliments. We don't take compliments well, so I get a little embarrassed. But thank you. You want to see me gush? Super chat me. Not gush, blush, not gush, blush. So Infinite Entertainment for $10. Thank you so much. And just so you know, all super chat money goes to paying for StreamYard. All I'm not a big wig. I make about enough to pay StreamYard every month. That's it. So all super chat money goes to paying for StreamYard. If there's anything left over, it'll go to a page of a comic book or anything like that. That hasn't happened yet. I take it back. It happened once that I made more than I needed for StreamYard. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year. John, do you have a plan on going back to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Just finished Wright's River trilogy. Absolutely sublime. It's funny that you said that. Because I got a stack of comics, a never-ending stack of comics. It's like the Hydra. Every time I read one comic, it gets replaced with 40 new comics. But here is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 4. I will be reading that hopefully this week. They're pretty pricey. So every time I read a Ninja Turtles, I buy another one, and I put in an order for back issues maybe once a month. So it's slow going, and to be honest, I've been putting off number 4 because I just didn't want to buy number 5 yet, So, and I'm really liking it. It's all Tonic Bowl. He embarrassed me into reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I talked about it ad nauseum. I was like a self-righteous kid. I had number 1 in my hand, and I was like, "They're making fun of Frank Miller. They're making fun of Daredevil. How dare they? Who the hell are they?" And and then the more successful they got, it was like the sunken cost fallacy. I refused to like them even more the more popular they got. Rather than, normal human. Rather than admit you're wrong, you double down. And then whatever. Like, as opposed to the Transformers and G.I. Joe, I was just too old and didn't get into them. But I've been getting the Marvel. I think I'm up to G.I. Joe number 4 or 5 of the original G.I. Joe. They're excellent. They're excellent. I'm glad that I'm reading them now, isn't it? I just love the G.I. Joe, like the loyalty of the team. That, I don't know, that gets me in the feels. So thank you, Infinite Entertainment. You got me to blush. Happy New Year, John. Best wishes for 2016. Enjoy your content and comics. Keep the good works. Thank you so much. So much. Have I read any issues of The Crow yet? No, I haven't even bought The Crow yet. I'm probably just going to get trade paperback. Those are too expensive to get there. I'm one of these people that need to get the first prints of the original runs, but The Crow might be too expensive right now. But I think I'll get a trade of it. Tony, you're not on Twitter or anything like that, right? It's hard to contact you, John Raphael 1 comes after 3. The micro series are very important. I already got them. I got them and I read them. I thought, because if I'm correctly, number 3, and then I got the Raphael series, and now I'm number 4. The one shot. It's micro series of 1 issue. But I got the Raphael number 1. That's where they introduced Casey Jones. I got that and I read it. And I really liked it. So far, the only issue that I didn't like was number 3, one with just the big car chase. I thought that was just filler. That was just filler. But the rest of it, I got to say, I'm really enjoying it. I take back everything I've ever said about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics. And it's funny because I got the board game years ago, and I love the board game. But now I actually know who like these characters are. Well, not all of them. I'm starting to learn who these characters are in the board game. Comics embraced. Happy New Year, friends. Happy New Year to you, too. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. And let's drink some coffee to that. No liquor. Just delicious coffee. I would recommend the hardcover Absolute Edition that came out a few years back. It has all sorts of extras plus an interview with James O'Barr. Okay, cool. John, I saw there's a new omnibus of Mike Grell's Warlord. Art looks great. This is a good series. I'm up to issue 15, 20 of the original series. I buy the floppies. I think I started with the first issue special. I'm a big fan of Mike Grell. But I avoided Warlord because it wasn't superheroes, and it was DC. That started coming out when I was avoiding DC. I didn't start getting into DC until after Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think there was 2 or 3 DC comics that I followed before that. After that, I got everything Marvel, everything DC. But Warlord wasn't superhero, so I wasn't into it. So I started because I love Mike Grell from Longbow Hunters. That's pretty much where I started to remember the name. Then his, Green Arrow series. And then from there, I went and got like John Sable and things like that. And now I'm working through Warlord. But I'm reading the injured floppies. If I can, I get the floppies over any trade paperbacks. That's just the way I am. Used to be on Twitter, but I had to get off a while back. Maybe I should go back. As a communication source, yeah, I can understand people getting off Twitter. Warlord is pretty good. Yeah, I like it. It's John Carter on a Warlord of Mars in the Inner Earth. You know what I mean? Sexy chicks, barbarian girls, a lot of fun stuff. Sweet. Just wait till you get to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 19. Incredible stuff. Oh, cool. Well, that'll be a while to wait at the rate I'm going. One issue a month. The Omnibus of Warlord has newsprint. Let me know what the coloring looks like. Every time they do reprints of trade paperbacks of old stuff, the coloring always looks weird. Always looks weird. Let me see if this loaded up. Okay, this loaded up, so I could show this. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show this. Here you go. Oh, breaking news. So this is, I'm going to make it big. This is the cover. Oh, I can't make it bigger. Okay, this is the cover to Giant Size Punchline. This is by Bill Williams. His comic is called Punchline, and he asked me to do a story in it. So I did a 12-page story. Renzo drew it. Oscar colored it. Bill led it. So it's my team, the guys that do Heroic Tales. And it's really the first appearance of the Metal League. So I have a schedule that I wanted to introduce all these characters, but this was too good of an opportunity to turn down. So this is in the future of my series. I'm strict with continuity, so I know when it's going to fit. But like the public, I had to put the public eye in there. Like right now, Patriarch, Mary Sue, nobody knows who the public eye is. So this is in the future. And then maybe in a while or so, a couple of years, I'll reprint this into Heroic Tales and I'll insert the correct, I'll put it in the correct timeline. But this is a 12-page story that has my characters interacting with Bill's characters in Punchline, which is funny because if you got Heroic Tales 2, you saw that Versima was in it. And now this has Mel. Yes, that's Mel in the Viking outfit in the middle. I can't make it bigger. But there you go. I love this. This is the cover. I wanted it to look like an old Avengers, old Justice League comic cover. Look at that. There you go. So there it is. Wow, why is this? Oh, old. Not a boomer. I just play one on TV. I'm Generation X. So there you go. What do you think about that? And definitely John Carter vibes for, yeah. It's the sword and sorcery sci-fi mix. Cool stuff. Thank you. Possible commendation. I know Floppy's great, but the IDW Ultimate White and Black collections have annotations by Laird and Eastman after every story. They might not collect everything though. Okay. That's good to know. I just gotta get Floppy comics. I gotta get the comics. Spectacular cover. Good. I'm glad you like it. Good. Cool stuff. Thank you. There's been some rumblings that the Absolute Universe isn't selling nearly as well as DC says that is. Yeah. My theory is that the comic shops are buying 200 issues to get the variant covers, and then they're sitting in the comic shops. So they're selling to the comic shops. Now, the comic shops, I think, they put in orders 3 months in advance, and they're drastically reducing. This is all my theory. So DC has like 3 months, 4 months warning of like, okay, it's bottoming out. Because, and I said it from the beginning, like, nobody cares. They canceled the Ultimate Universe of Marvel. The Absolute Universe isn't selling. I don't know. Who cares? If I want mainstream, normal comics to be good, not the variant covers. Not Batman who's not Batman, not Superman who's not Superman. Good coffee. So again, I will put the link in here if anybody wants to pop in and talk. Matt, are you still around? I sent Matt a sci-fi story called Blue Collar Shift, and he liked it. Well, he asked me to do a story. Well, that's kind of not true. The kind of story is we were just talking one day, and we both decided to do story. So I wrote him a story. We don't know what we're going to do with it. I sent him an email with a couple of suggestions, and I was waiting for Matt to come back what we're going to do. But I have, believe it or not, the first comic scripts I ever wrote were sci-fi short stories. So I'm going to revisit them, fix them up, and see if Matt is interested. Or maybe we'll do a sci-fi anthology. That would be fun. The Gamer from Mars channel recently did a Comicscape video. I thought it was really good. Yeah, I saw it. It was really good. It was really good. What was it, Arthur Miller? The playwright said that the end of an era is when all the illusions have been exhausted. Are there any illusions of Comicsgate that are still active? It's not a customer service anymore. It's not accepting criticism, and it's not a fan movement. So it's over. Comicsgate is over. We posted the stream. Oh, cool. Thank you. Ultimate Universe 2 is woke trash, and I'm not sure why that has really. I didn't read it. I haven't bought any new Marvel. Like when I say new, I mean off the newsstand. I've bought in Marvel comics dated after 2025, but I bought them like maybe 2 years ago. I wanted to finish off Fantastic Four run, things like that, and you could literally see the month that the Identity Politics was inserted into the Dan Slott run. I was like, oh, the Dan Slott run's pretty good. Oops, there it is. So I'm glad that I quit Marvel DC before it became woke trash. I quit because the continuity, the glaring disregard for continuity that was all I could stand, and I can't stand no more. So, I quit before it really, really got egregiously bad. All right, so I'm all caught up. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. Where am I? Okay, so let's talk about, these are the comics that I've read since the last time I did comics. This is Batwoman, Under the Spell of Nocturna, which really drives me nuts because I have a character called Nocturne that I was writing a story for an artist who is about to retire from artist. So the story that he's drawn for me now, he says it'll be the last one, but he said that before. Got the monies. He said that before, so maybe I could talk about it retiring and do another story for me. But look at this. This run, I know she's lesbian Batwoman, but this is an amazing run of comics. It's so good. So here is my Union card came in the mail. Here is issue 30. Just look at this art. Now, Mark and Draco, yes, he inserts a gay character in every comic, but he's a good writer. Like, you can make that kind of stuff. You can put the gay stuff in comics if you're a good writer and you don't make it the focus, and if it's not artificial, I don't know. This is just a good comic. It's great villains. Oh, we got a guest.
Hey, John.
How's it going? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and your wife. How's everything going over there?
Good. She's all happy upstairs because one of her church, church friends, the baby is born 6 weeks premature, but healthy. And the doctor's like, yeah, it's not going to be able to eat on its own and blah, blah, blah. So they gave the worst case scenario. The baby's eating on its own. It's crying, it's doing all the stuff that a healthy baby should do. So
what a great way to start the new year.
Yeah.
A New Year's baby.
Yeah. Babies should have big ears, like in the old Rankin and Bass. I always say Bankin and Rass.
Yeah, with the big top hat. Yeah.
Happy New Year. So did you see the cover to Punchline Giants?
I did. I want to be the first to congratulate you. The long box universe is getting bigger and better.
So that's Bill Williams' comics. It comes out by Antarctic Press. So the way Bill does it is there's going to be a crowdfund that he prints up the book, that he gives out the comics to the crowdfunders. The crowdfunders get like extra stuff, and then everything else goes into distribution into comic book stores. So he's, the problem is there's like 5 creative teams. And maybe I'm telling too many tales at school. He goes, John, I wish all the pros were as professional as you. He asked me, I got right on it. We were done I was done for the story for a while. He goes, you were by far the first one to be done. I was like, well, I'm excited. That's why I'm making comics, because I'm excited about it. It's not my job. It's a fun thing to do. So we did it. We got it done. And so there's 5 teams. So I think there's going to be 5 varied covers. Each team gets their own cover, things like that. and then it's off to comic book stores. So that's one of the reasons why I jumped ahead in time. I'll bring this back just so I can explain what I'm talking about. Share screen. Just add screen. But I'll make this even bigger. But the Meta League is, my role playing groups. That's our characters. So the Patriarch I made up for the comic book. Colonel Strong is my friend Michael's character. The Public Eye was my character. So when my friend Jimmy ran the game, that was who I played. Mary Sue I made up. Magnum is my friend Paul's character. The Metaphysician is my friend Jimmy's character. King Fu I made up. He was an NPC. And Starlet I made up. She's an NPC. So I was just like, yeah, I want to get all my friends' characters, that we've been role playing for 20 years in a team together in a comic book in the comic book stores. So I am super excited to do this. So my friends are like, oh my God, it's gonna happen, So that's why I kind of jumped it out of order because the Patriarch and Mary Sue and all that, they don't know who Public Eye is yet. He really didn't make his public debut yet. I
will definitely be picking it up from my local comic shop.
Well,
I'll let you know.
You could back it on I think he's going to release it on Kickstarter and then Fund My Comic or the comic book store, whatever you want. Of course, I'll be doing both, because it's exciting. It's exciting. All right, so this is another comic that I got. This is Day of the Dead Girl. I don't know why. Oh, I know why I got this. I got this because it's Magma Comics and Oscar Carano works. He does coloring for Magma. He didn't color this, but he did coloring for Rome Eternal. So I picked that up because Oscar did the color, and it's great. I really really like that. It's think of it as like a Jack Kirby meets the Roman Empire meets the Justice League. It's the only way to describe that. So I was like, I want to support some more Magma Comics, and then this I think this company is based in Mexico. So I think they're Mexican comics translated into English and published in America. So this is all about the Day de la Muerte. Don't laugh at my Mexican pronunciations. I'm an American, But so and she's a coroner, forensic, and you know what I mean. So she's learning about like basically murders that are going on, and her aunt is a bruja. How do I know I'm gonna get Oscar's gonna make.
You're pronouncing it well.
Yeah, so she's a witch, and she believes in science. She believes in magic. You know what I mean? And it's one of those kind of stories. But I like it so far. I forgot to order issue 2, so I have to get it from the back issue bins. This is the actual copy, but this is the first X-Men comic I ever bought. This is the one I bought off the newsstand, and then I don't necessarily need everything to be in great condition, but you can see how beat up this was. So I bought the copy that this is my reader copy, but this is the first X-Men comic I ever bought, and back then the X-Men were hard to find. They weren't the ubiquitous team that everybody knows. I didn't know these names. I knew the Beast from the Avengers. I was collecting the Avengers, and I didn't know that the Beast was an X-Men. You know what I mean? It was fun finding all this out. And I mean, when you read the Avengers, and then these names are so cool. I mean, you got Phoenix, Wolverine, Colossus, Cyclops, Storm, Banshee. These are just great superhero names. This was, and then the art. So this is, I do the series on Sundays, Sunday Comics. I'm doing the Claremont Byrne run. And when that runs out, I think I'm going to start with the Avengers 150 and do like just to me, the greatest Avengers 150 to 200. So nice. It'll be next year. But oh man, these bring back memories. Here you go, some old Justice League.
Oh wow, yeah.
Oh, Hojo's. Hey Hojo, how you doing, Hojo? I got to tape this. Show everybody how you properly tape. You tape and you put it like that.
I love those old Mike Sikowski issues. Very, very cool.
These are terrible but charming at the same time. Hey Hojo, I just realized I got this for you. I got that for you. Happy New Year, Hojo.
Gardner Fox sort of I like his some of his Silver Age work was pretty good. I liked him on the on Hawkman, but you're right. The Justice League was kind of boring. It really was.
They were in your seven. Yeah, I got that X-Men out of 7-Eleven, but I don't know if it was just they were so popular, maybe they sold out and I couldn't find them. But yeah, I ended up like having to like go to different 7-Elevens, go all over the place to find these X-Men. Yeah, these are before my time. And this is another like every month when I put in an order for back issues, I put in a Justice League, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I'm like reading them monthly. These are terrible. I got no problems. These are why I never read DC. They're poorly written. You know, they make no sense. They're like Scooby-Doo type comics. But if I read these in my 20s, I would have just stopped. But now in my 50s, I do find like the childish charming, if that makes sense. You know, so
Well, it's funny because in the 40s when he was writing JSA, everyone had a personality. Johnny Thunder had a personality, the Spectre, the Atom, all of them. But these guys, their personalities, they had no personalities.
you're right.
They were like one hive mind, pretty much. You know,
They were all the same person. Like
exactly.
when they're in the civilian clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Allen wore reddish clothes just so you'd know he's Barry Allen. You know,
Exactly.
and Hal Jordan wore like maybe like a green tinted jacket. You know what I mean? Like that's how similar they were. The only way to tell them apart was to dress them in the same colors as their they were all. I mean, Wonder Woman is easy to tell, but and then they would sport off powers that made no sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the JSA was better written, a much better comic, in my opinion. But
Yeah, but I do like this cover. Like looking at this landscape back here, I love the colors, the gradations, stuff. Like, there is something to be said about this cover that I really like. Like I don't know, like I like the depth of Aquaman's costume. It actually looks like scale mail armor rather than like just like a suit. It I don't know. It's charming. I like it better now as a as an adult who appreciates this kind of, like I said, I was the kind of guy like, you're making fun of Frank Miller. I'm not getting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? I took my comics way too seriously. So now that I can ease back a little bit, I'm liking it. This was fun to look at.
Sauron.
Yeah, enter Sauron. They're in the Savage Land. Look, it's nobody drew Storm like John Byrne. He drew her sexy and powerful and everything. Just look at the colors on this. This is just. Can you imagine seeing this? You're 11 years old, seeing this in the stands. Tell me you wouldn't have
Beautiful.
Tell me you wouldn't have bought that. I mean, awesome. And it's funny because we all talk about the great Chris Claremont run. I'm going through this really for the first time in 20 years, and I'm realizing just how sketchy and bad the plots are. I mean, the comics are great because the characters are great, the art is great, the storytelling is great, but the plots are just awful. They're strung together by the flimsiest, but you don't mind because they're so good. So yes, I'm criticizing Chris Claremont. And then this was a crowd fund, Cosmo Girl. It was pretty good. It was amateurish, the big old boobies, stuff like that. But as far as an amateur comic goes, it was pretty good. I'm not too much of a stickler that I can't enjoy. I mean, there's no nudity or anything.
Yeah, I thought you looked like Red Sonja, but without the scale mail.
Yeah. It came out on a Wednesday, 22 and 23. This is Alterna Comics. There's comments. Let's get to the comments. I love Gardner Fox on Hawkman and Atom. Yeah, that is a big hole in my collection is Silver Age DC. Silver Age DC is a big hole. I know more about the Golden Age than I do about Silver Age DC because I just didn't like them. They were just hokey to me. When I was that age, I was like, those are baby comics. Like it was you got, if you were a little kid, you got the Harveys. Then from Harvey's, if you were a girl, you went Archie, and if you were a boy, you went DC, and then when you were older, you went to Marvel. That's the way I thought, But I was wrong. Silver Age Superman was the worst for power. Yes, Silver Age Superman was so powerful that they didn't even tell adventure stories anymore. It was more like him getting into like silly like love triangles with Lois Lane and Laura. You know what I mean? Because you knew there was no suspension. I mean, there was no tension. He was just going to win.
It was clickbait. You remember, like, Superman's new power is to be able to shoot little Supermen from his fingers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
why does he look like Alfred E. Newman? He's got a lion's head. It
Right.
was
Why
clickbait.
is
Yeah.
turning into an insect? You know.
Mhm.
And I didn't know this. Is this true? You would know probably, but that there's something called platinum kryptonite, and it turns normal humans into Kryptonians.
Exactly. Yes.
Why doesn't Batman have that?
I don't know. I mean, why would Superman have a museum of all the different kinds of kryptonite in the Fortress of Solitude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Tony, come to my house. I'm going to show you my museum of poison.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
I,
this is my
I,
disease contamination unit over here.
I love the ideas that came out of the Silver Age, Bizarro, the Phantom Zone, all that stuff. But a lot of those Superman books are rough reads. They really are. Like there's a lot of clickbait, a lot of love triangle stuff. A lot of DC in the Silver Age is kind of crappy. I mean, for me, it was.
If Superman has a mineral that turns people like him, why doesn't he? Like, doesn't he trust Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane? You know what I mean?
He let Lois Lane take it. She became Superwoman for a while. And remember, Jimmy Olsen took a potion that gave him elastic powers. He was Elastic Lad. Yeah, part of the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, he was Jinko Juice or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so anyway, back to this. It came out on a Wednesday. This is homaging that, new comics come out on Wednesdays. So, and it's just an anthology. Full disclosure, I submitted a 2-page story that Pete Zametti rejected. And so that 2-page story will be in a future issue of Heroic Tales, which is cool because it's really the third Public Eye story, and it would have been out of order. It would have bothered me, but I was like, a 2-page story. But whatever. He didn't like it. So great covers. Look at this. Look at this Robert Geronimo cover. I love this. Am I still alive? Somebody put something in the comment because Tony started swirling around. So is he fine and I'm swirling around, or
we're okay?
In the comments.
I can see you fine. Everything's fine.
Oh, it's me. It's me. I hate the different color kryptonite. It's so lame. Did I freeze or did you freeze?
I'm fine.
You started swirling, so I didn't know if it was my end or your. But this is Robert Geronimo. He does Blood Realm for Alterna Comics. Like I said, I still have a soft spot for Alterna Comics because through Alterna Comics, I met Brian Bow, I met Fabrizio Aiello, I met Josh Howard, I met Tonic Ball. So I'm always going to support this company, but they're only down to like 2 comics. Or 3 comics they do. It came out on a Wednesday, King Cryptid and Blood Realm. And I will have an ad for Heroic Tales in King Cryptid number 13. So I'm going to leave my campaign up because why have an advertisement to a link that's closed? If I could get my new merchant, that's the next thing I want to do. I want to set up, maybe this weekend, I'll set up a merchandise campaign on Fund My Comic, and I'll leave that up forever. The purpose of that is if I ever do advertisements and anybody else, or like, by the time that punchline, I could put like a link to something that's always going to be there rather than a campaign that closes out. I love this cover. This is a great cover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. These are good. I like these comics.
Gosh, I haven't read her in years.
Yeah. This is Miss Tree, the Rock and Roll Summer Special. I talk about Miss Tree a lot. She's just a flat out detective. There's nothing supernatural, no sci-fi. It's just detective stories. It's set in like 1986. Her name is Michael Friday. Her maiden name is Michael Friday. Her father is supposed to be Joe Friday from Dragnet, but he can't say that in the comic, but he says it in interviews. You know what I mean? And then she married Michael Tree, so she became Mrs. Tree, and they both first name is Michael because Joe Friday wanted a son, so he named his daughter Michael. And she's just this tough, no nonsense, like borderline, like autistic, if you ask me. The way she deals with people, she doesn't get cues and stuff, but she's man, she have a body count, and it's really really funny. And you know, the art style is, I guess, like wonderfully old fashioned. Like she's supposed to be real pretty, but she's like so like artistically, like she doesn't modernize her hair. So every once in a while, like she'll go out on a cake and she'll have to dress up in a gown and they put her hair up, and she's like, I hate all this girly stuff. Like one episode, one comic, she got caught breaking into a bank in the mafia house. So she put her hands up and then she started taking her shirt off, you know, and it was really shocking because she doesn't do anything sexy, you know. And then as she went to take her bra off, she had a knife in her bra. You know what I mean? It was funny. And then in another issue, the guy comes to her hotel room and she's in her 90s, you know, nothing sexy, just her sleeping clothes. And they're sitting down talking. And then she goes to kiss him. And the guy's like, what are you doing? I'm married. She goes, oh, I thought that's why you came. You know, I thought that's what it means when, you know what I mean? Like she's just awkward. But man, she's like but anyway, this issue I really like because it was just a rock and roll story, but 3/4 of it is just a biography of Bobby Darin. You know, what's his name? Max Collins really liked Bobby Darin growing up. So it's and I didn't know about all this. I'm kind of fascinated with Bobby Darin too.
Did you ever watch the movie with Kevin Spacey?
No, I can't stand Kevin Spacey. I don't want to watch anything with him. You know,
well, it was a good movie. You know, you find out a lot about him. Yeah, I love Max Allan Collins. I discovered him through in the late '80s, early '90s with the Dick Tracy movie. I discovered Dick Tracy through him.
Okay.
He a wonderful run of Dick Tracy comics.
Speaking of Dick Tracy, I ordered the hardcover collection on Amazon. It didn't show up yet. I got to check. I ordered it so long ago that I forgot about it. I got to see. And then this is the Daybreakers. This is Max Collins' actual band. They actually charted and everything like that. So, you know, this was a fun issue. This is just a special, you know. So this is out. Well, it's in the regular continuity, but it's out of the numbering. So, we got another person. How you doing, Arkham?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Hello, Arkham.
Happy New Year's, and those who I did not see, belated Merry Christmas.
And yes.
Happy New Year, man.
And Omnipro says, evening guys. So this is Roger's story. This I gotta say that this series, I don't know if you can get it collected, but they're like $2 a piece now. You know, it's you know, back then it was $2. I think now if you go to like my comic shop, you can get them for like $2.50 or something. But it's really stark, it's really violent, really matter of fact. Like the art style is I guess static. Like the camera angle doesn't change. It's like mid, you know what I mean? So I could see people not liking it because it's boring, but I really like it because the stories are just real good detectives. This issue was really surprisingly shocking because it's one of the guys who runs her company and his story, and then his ex-girlfriend who comes back, tries to seduce him using sex that gets, and I was like, whoa, you know, they didn't show anything, but this comic is like not sexy in the slightest. So that when they do anything slightly sexy, it's shocking. And I'll tell you this, they did an issue of somebody trying to blow up an abortion clinic, you know, back in the 80s. You know, they don't shy away. They did a school shooting, you know, they did a story of a sex trafficker. You know, it's real, you know, it's not for kids. They don't show anything graphic, but the subject matter, you know, I guess it would be like stuff that you'd see on like CSI. You know what I mean? I guess is CSI for kids,
a mature audience.
Yeah, mature audience, but nothing like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones to me just absolutely, I don't want to say elevated. There's another word, escalated what is normal in TV dramas nowadays. You know what I mean? Like again, I'm not a prude, but sometimes I'm watching Game of Thrones. I'm just like, what am I watching?
HBO was pushing that for a while. Even like if you go back to Deadwood, there was quite a bit of nudity in that too.
Yeah, Deadwood had quite a bit of nudity, but Game of Thrones and Spartacus were just nudity shows with swords. Deadwood, I don't know. They had 3 seasons, and I could probably remember like 4 or 5 nude scenes. I'm sure there's more, but but Game of Thrones, it was just like, okay, where's the gratuitous nude scene? But anyway, this is Oscar Carreno's comic, Doctor Mysterio. This is it's a Mexican comic. It's in Spanish, but Oscar is drawing one half of Phineas Doomed as we speak. That's chugging along at a nice pace, hoping to get that out this year. And I really like Oscar's my colorist for those of you. And he did this Dr. Mysterio. Even I don't understand Spanish. I have a high school level understanding of Spanish, but I got to say, this is a comic that I would like to give people as an example of storytelling. Like, you could follow the story literally without understanding the words. Like, this is the panel flows. What's going on. Like, this is just, I think, just like a master class to give like an amateur comic book creator. So good. And then I just love these. I got to put them in order because that's the kind of crazy person I am. But this is Santo.
El Santo.
Yeah.
El Santo.
You know Santo?
Oh, God, yeah, dude. He's like a superhero in Mexico. There were three luchadores that were big. El Santo, Mil Máscaras, y El Blue Demonio.
Oh, I like the way you say that, man. That sounds great, the way you say that.
Santo, Blue Demon, and Thousand Masks.
Because I've been fascinated with luchadors because I've been reading Love and Rockets, and Mexican wrestling is a couple of subplots in their comics. Although lately they dropped all that stuff for porn. Love and Rockets is really pushing it for me. It's like, again, there's nothing wrong with nudity, but it's just the main characters because Love and Rockets, it's like they change the main characters every couple of years. Like, the main character now is a porn star, so every issue is about porn. It's like, come on, man, you're 75 years old, knock it off with the porn. But it's kind of gross. But anyway, for a long time, it was female wrestlers that were the stars, and that's probably my favorite era of Love and Rockets. And then Hellboy did the Hellboy in Mexico when he was drinking with. So I was like, I want to do a luchador character. And every time I would go to Renzo and Oscar was like, nope, they already have one. Like, I couldn't come up with a good luchador type character. So I finally came up with one that Oscar's like, okay, that's good. So he might debut. I have a boxing suit. And that's just a natural to have the boxing superhero meet the Mexican luchador superhero. So anyway, so Oscar was telling me about Santo, so he sent me these comics. And then I watched here's the real luchador Santo. And then I watched the Santo meets the vampires movie.
There's Santo meets Dracula. Santo meets Frankenstein. Yeah, the Mummy. Yeah.
So
Mummy's the one I remember.
Oh God, I used to watch these all the time on Spanish television when I was a little boy. They were awesome.
I watch it on YouTube, and now it's funny because on YouTube I get Spanish ads, but it was easy to follow, even though closed caption didn't seem to work. But I didn't need to know, Dracula, I'm gonna bite you. I was watching it, but I gotta say, man, the women were beautiful, man. The women in Mexican TV in the 50s and 60s, like, they just had this beautiful element. And Oscar was telling, and I noticed that everybody was like blonde haired and blue eyes. And Oscar was telling me because of the Spanish Civil War, a lot of the Spain actors from Spain came to Mexico. So you get a lot of people with Spanish from Spain features, and then you get Santo, who's a typical looking Mexican guy, you know what I mean? And then they have that goofy sidekick with the dollar sign, like he's falling down. It was just so out of place because every other actor was like so like perfect. Like they took it seriously, and then they had that goofy. I hate goofy
It
sidekick.
was always funny to me watching a Spanish person from Spain talking, with Mexicans, because Mexican Spanish is quite different than Spanish. The Spanish from Spain, they have they have like a lith, like in Mexico, a heart is corazón, but in Spain it's corazón.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's funny
like American English and England English. Sometimes you can't. I remember we were in a bar in Seattle. There was these English sailors there, but they were hitting on the girls that we were hitting on. So we were like, I guess we're getting into a fight. Is that a good move to get into a fight with a bunch of sailors? Yeah. And my friend Sean just said to him, "What are you saying? Do you speak English at all?" And that was it. It was on after that. Tell it the English kids. Do you even speak English? Because they spoke like Cockney. He was like, oh. Yeah, we were drunk at beer muscle. I got to say, we didn't win, but we didn't lose too bad either. So the guy on the cover doesn't look threatening at all, but a gun in the hand of someone immediately could feel threatening. Are we talking about this cover, or are we talking about, this cover? There's a gun. Yeah, these are fun. I really like the coloring. Santo. So this is Santo. Vampiros. Criaturas de la noche. I'm sure my Mexican is making Tony's skin crawl.
No. It's quite well.
Yeah, these are fun. Thank you, Oscar, for sending them to me. He goes back in time and fights Roman gladiators.
Nice, dude. I gotta read these. I completely forgot about this character. I haven't seen a Santo film in years.
What about Kaliman?
That one I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, Kaliman is he's Indian from India, and these adventures are set in India, but they're Mexican comics. So and this is like he's like a golden age mystic type superhero in the fact that he does whatever this plot requires him to do. He's magic, so he can grow big, he can grow strong, he can go through walls, he can do whatever the plot needs. And these came out weekly, and I talked about these before. They clipped other comics, so there's issues where he's fighting Galactus because they literally just clipped the.
Mexican comics are great. They're their own thing. I remember the first appearance of Conan in comics was not in 1970. It was in 1961. It was a comic book called La Reina de la Costa Negra, which was essentially the Queen of the Black Coast. It was Belette, the character Belette. She carried the comic, and Conan was like a side character. He had blonde hair.
Okay.
And that was like the first technical appearance of Conan in comics, but it was pretty good.
But so like you could get these comics and you'll actually see Jack Kirby art. They'll have Galactus and then they'll invert it. Then you know what I mean? So they could pump out these comics weekly. And then who doesn't want a hot Indian chick in a bikini as your sidekick?
John, in South America, when the license go up for a lot of series, the people who were publishing the series prior just continue doing it anyways and start making up their own stories. They did with Street Fighter, Mega Man, and a bunch of other stuff down there.
The most famous example of Mexican comics is they were doing their own Spider-Man stories, and they just ignored that Gwen Stacy died. And they gave her some junk in her trunk and continued doing Gwen Stacy stories. The Mexicans liked their blonde, blue-eyed Gwen Stacy. Like I love the Caliban. El hombre incredible. How do you say that?
Increíble.
Increíble. Yeah. Forget me saying that. So this is a Warren magazine, 1994. This is the same company that did Creepy, Eerie. This is their sci-fi. I was about to stop it with the collecting impulse guy in me. Like I couldn't stop. It started out as 1984.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, that's not far enough in the future. We're going to make it 1994 because this is the 70s. But they really got like a cease and desist letter from something. I don't know. They had to change it. But if you get the first 6, so it's soft porn. It's just movies, the comic, and Stoner, the comic. But
it's pretty much like heavy metal.
Yeah, it started to get really good. Now it's good. and Matt, if you're watching, this is the kind of stuff that I'd like to do, minus like the suggestive. Like I would like to do like maybe like a sci-fi anthology. You know, of course, it's not going to be as good as EC, but that's the attempt. That's the attempt. So this is Next Evolution. This is Heather Velle's comic. She's been on my channel a few times. This is a great premise. Just imagine a fictional world where pharmaceutical companies don't care about testing, and they just want to pump out more and more experimental drugs. Yeah, and the drugs are causing side effects. In the 70s, a bunch of people were born mutated with like basically superpowers and low impulse control. They're called ragers. And she's a rager, so she's super strong. But she's like, she wants to stop the pharmaceutical company from. They're going to bring it back. It's so much time has been passed that they're going to bring back that drug, and she's like, no, So just imagine you got super strength, but you have low impulse control, and you're going to take on. It sounds like what?
Scanners. Remember that David Cronenberg movie? Sounds just like Scanners. Yeah,
I think we were both inspired by that. The Formaldehyde, not whatever it is, the flipper babies. I can never remember the name of the drug. So that's why I joke. What a fictional world. So I love this premise. I love this premise. So here's you could still go to Fund My Comic and get all 3 issues. Like I said, her writing is really good. My critiques were. Some the lettering could be improved, and sometimes the storytelling is a little bit of jar, meaning sometimes the panels are just like, what happened between these 2 panels? But that she's getting better, and her story is just really, really good. Hey, Matt, you want to come in? I was just talking about you, Matt. You want to come in, Matt? I'll throw this, and I'm not going to stay out all night long. It is New Year's, but I needed to do this. Oh, and I'm going back to my 3 to 11 shift on Monday, so. I got to stream when I can. This chat is going to. Michael Ironside was the best in scan. He's the one whose head blew up, right? Oh, yep. I saw that in the movie theater. When that guy's head blew up, everybody in the theater was like, wow! You know what I mean? That is like when people say if you could go back in time and watch something for the first time, go back in time and watch Scanners in the movie theater, and just watch everybody's reaction. It was one of those great things. And here's the link if anybody else wants to pop in.
Some of Rick Baker's best work.
So this is issue 113. This is the issue right before the first X-Men comic. This is the first X-Men comic I've ever seen. My friend across the street had this comic, and I was like, who are these people? Like, this was before the X-Men were everywhere. You know what I mean? So like, this was 1978. They just it was monthly for years. I mean, bi-monthly, meaning every other month. And I was like, who are these characters? And I read it, but I didn't know the story because it's the middle of a 3-issue series. But like, this was a struggle, but it was worth the struggle. It was so good. Guys, like get these comic. I'm sure they're like $20-$30 a piece, these comics. So maybe, but they're so worth it. Some of the best comics ever. This is Hellboy, a one-shot. Professor Harvey is gone. I love Hellboy. I get anything Hellboy related. So, spoiler alert for anybody who's reading Hellboy: Hellboy is dead, but he's supernatural, so it may not stop him. I think they're going to continue Hellboy in hell. He's now the king of hell. He died. Spirit went to hell, and he took over. He's got the horns and the crown and everything sitting on the throne. That was like the last. So these are just set in the past. And this is him. Like, I think this is like 1986 that it's set. And, he just goes on adventures. I just love Hellboy. Big influence on my comic. You will see as we go along how much of an influence Hellboy is in my comic. This is more Batwoman. This was a good comic, but it was just a run-of-the-mill adventure story. Bank robber. You know who the bank robber is from the second page. It's like a Scooby-Doo, like, this guy's the bad guy. I don't want to spoil it, but it's a good design. Like, again, I love the bad guys in this series are they're all original, except for, like, I think she fights Solomon Grundy in one issue, and she fights Killer Croc in another issue. But for the most part, she has a really interesting rogue gallery. You know, too bad that TV show just killed any interest in Batwoman. But look at these gorgeous covers. You know, just these covers are so good. I love
It's really my thing, unfortunately, but
yeah, I think altogether there's only like 50 issues. I think there was 3 series. One of them didn't last too long. Then the next one was only like 3 issues. And then they started again. But like the new 52 didn't really change anything. They just pretended it didn't happen. They just continued, you know. So it didn't change. But this is so good, so good. Yeah, I really like these Batwoman comics.
you know, outside of the Hellboy, I used to really like Atomic Robo. I don't know if he's still being published or not.
No, I don't think it was profitable enough. I think he moved on. But I have you'll see. I have a bunch of artists working on projects, and I kind of learned the hard way. Don't start announcing stuff until just, you know, they didn't start yet. They're finishing up their projects, and they'll start. So if things go well, they'll start a project that is, you'll see, it's inspired by Atomic Robo. You know, I wear my homages on my sleeve. You know what I mean? I think if you pretend that, oh no, I totally no, people see that, you know. So where the and I love people like, oh, it's just a Superman ripoff. I'm like, so is Captain Marvel, so is the Blue Marvel, so is Gladiator. You know, everybody rips off Superman. Batman himself was a ripoff of the Shadow. You know, you could. I say a ripoff is a sloppy homage. An homage is a love, you know, a ripoff with love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Name a superhero that's not, at this point, that's not an homage of something else. So what do we got here? Oh, for some reason, I don't know if I ordered twice or he sent me twice. I must have ordered twice, but I got 2. It came out on Wednesdays. I'll just do this. So this is Evangeline. This is Chuck Dixon.
Oh, I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah, no joke.
Been a while,
This comic
that's
is
for sure.
Does he still have the rights to her?
No, everything by Comico got sold.
Okay.
It was a shady. I've heard different things from different people, but I heard. Oh, I thought that Arkham. I thought your camera moving around was my camera. I was like, what is going on? But I heard that the owner of Comico borrowed money from people he shouldn't have borrowed money from, and then couldn't pay it back. So they basically took all the character rights. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's the truth.
So essentially, it was a Victor Fox Syndicate situation.
Yeah, but like let's just say
Uh,
a little bit of cement shoes kind of situation, you know. So I think that's what happened. So Chuck doesn't own the rights anymore, and I think he's quietly waiting for them to expire or something. Because they're not.
What I would think is whoever took the rights from Comico would turn around, go to the creator, and say, "Do you want to buy your rights back and try to make some money on the back end?"
Right.
You would think.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Elementals.
Yeah, somebody would buy the rights to that in a heartbeat, and at least they'd get some money back.
Why not Bill Willingham? Who knows? Yeah. I don't know the inside baseball of that.
Stock numbers. Let's see what those numbers look like.
You know, Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to you too. Happy New Year's, everybody. But this is a Western on Mars. There's no other way. This is just a total shoot 'em up. Like,
accurate.
Matter of fact, this first issue could have just been in the West. Mars played no part of the storytelling. She was a nun. Bad guys came and did bad things to all the nuns. She survived, and now she wants revenge. You know, the only thing is there's trains, you know, just like in Westerns. The guns are high tech. But even like the low gravity of Mars doesn't play any part of it. You know, it's the city name. But the second issue is she's going after everybody. So the second issue is set in space. Like she goes on a shuttle and you know, I'll talk about it more when it shows up. I thought it was going to be the next comic.
you know, it's. Is it wrong for me to say that my favorite Chuck Dixon stuff is like his independent stuff? You know,
No,
Boy, Alien Legion, Evangeline. You know, that was always the stuff that he sort of had more of a stake in. I liked his Batman stuff fine and his Robin stuff, but I was always more of a fan of the independent stuff that he did.
yeah, I wanted to talk about this, so I pulled it out of the pile. As I jam Cool Ranch Doritos down my throat, I have no willpower. My wife gave me this gigantic bag, and I knew I wasn't going to last through the whole stream without opening up. But this is her. She basically gets a job as like a trucker in space, and then she breaks into another ship that's like a space casino. But this guy just happens to be trying to rob the place at the same time. So they pull guns on each other. And she's like, I don't care if you rob the place. You know, I don't want to rob the place. I just want revenge. So they kind of team up. And it's funny because like they're flying away at the end in an escape shuttle. And he's just like, well, we got some time on our hands. She goes, yes, we do. Now get your hand off my knee or I'll shoot you. You know, she's still a nun. But that's the end. There's only 2 issues from Comico. Then there's a Evangeline special that I just ordered. And then there's a first series that I think goes like 12 issues. And then that's the end. That's the end. So this is Graham Nolan's Monster Island. You know, you know, Graham Nolan, like I said, he's like the consummate professional of crowdfunding. You know, doesn't create drama. He makes good quality comics. His comics always ship on time. You know, I think the most he was like a few weeks late. I think what happened was like his comics got wet and he had to reprint them really quick. Like, you know what I mean? But he didn't bitch about it. He didn't cry. He just did what he had to do to get the, you know, so this is good fun, tongue in cheek. I really like, I like it's like a little more cartoony than his Batman stuff, but I really like it. It's the equivalent of like a 50s sci-fi. You know what I mean? If you like that kind of stuff, I do like it. I do like it. And man, talk about, okay, let me put this.
Big Bang Comics, I love those.
Okay, these comics are falling down, so I just afraid that if I move my chair, I would roll over them, but they just fell. I got to put these in the correct order.
My favorite character out of that was Night Watchman, I believe he was called.
Yeah.
Mm.
When I was a kid, I made a V&B character called the Night Watchman, and then I found out that there already was one. So I was like, oh man. But this is Big Bang Comics. The premise of these comics is we're supposed to pretend that these are Golden Age comics, Golden Age characters, and then they mix a couple of public domain characters with original characters. And I really like it. It's just a lot of fun. It's gold. It's, you know, but this is the Sphinx. He's a hero from another dimension. You know, he's Iron Man, Batman, all mixed together. He's like the 7-foot tall genius. And then you know, I don't want to spoil it, but I really liked it, and it is a nice twist on it because he's already like one of the world's greatest heroes, but you don't realize that the story is someone else's origin. You know, it was pretty clever. I thought it was a good twist. This is Rich Buckler drawn, but this is a couple of issues ago. Savage Dragon, yes, from Eric Larson. He got straddled with a time bomb, so the bomb would detonate. It would travel through time. So it's a hokey time travel stories, but he's going to alternate Earth with different versions of it. I hate that stuff, but it's tongue in cheek, you know, and with a little bit of cleverness. Like he's going back and forth through time, so they remember him and he doesn't remember him, and then he goes back in time and goes back, and then he remembers them and they don't. You know what I mean? They're playing with time stuff, you know. But it's you know, I'm at the point now where I don't take stuff like that as seriously as I used to, so I'm just enjoying it. Now this was really good. This is Dr. Weird. He's you know, a Doctor Strange Spectre kind of guy, and he fights like a Swamp Thing character. Interesting thing, the very first appearance of Dr. Weird was written by what's his name? George R.R. Martin, the Game of Thrones guy. So this is wonderfully drawn by Steve Bissett. This was fun. I really like these. I gotta go get more issues. This is weird. Sorry, but it's a notification. There's somebody in my backyard. It better be my wife.
Pick a gun.
Okay, it's my wife. Okay.
Yeah, you just mentioned George R. R. Martin and superheroes. Arkham, have you ever heard of a series he did called Wild Cards?
90s,
Yeah,
right?
that was a great series. I recommend you check that out, John, if you haven't.
You know, you mentioned that before. I was going to look it up, and then I forgot. So now, second time, things usually stick. I'll try to look it up. Yeah, what is my wife doing? She's walking around the backyard. I think it's storming. Maybe a big branch fell down. She always goes and checks the roof. But anyway, this is DMZ. And it's funny how my opinions on this comic just completely do 180s. A guy that I worked with gave me issues 1 to 12 because I really like these, and you're the only person I know who likes comics, so he just gave them to me. And I normally bought everything by Vertigo, but this was one of the comics I wasn't interested in. So, and of course, since I had them, I had to read them. And then, of course, he's asking me about it. What do you think? What do you think? And I didn't want to say I didn't read your comics that you gave me. So I read them, and I ended up liking it. But the premise is New York City goes to war with the rest of the United States. How stupid of a premise is that? You know what I mean? Like, or I forget exactly, but there's a civil war in the United States, and basically they push back, and then they just build a wall around New York City. So it's Escape from New York.
Mm-hmm.
But it's supposed to be this like geopolitical thriller and stuff like that. But the premise is just so bad. Like, why would we not advance and just take Manhattan?
So what is Manhattan a demilitarized zone? Is that why it's called DMZ?
Like basically they can't. It's some sort of treaty. So inside Manhattan, they're on their own. So inside Manhattan is a violent wasteland, gangs and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then outside of, we view them as traitors, and then other people like we got to give them food, and I do like how like they don't have inside Manhattan, they don't have any power or anything like that. So like they're trying to grow food in an urban setting, that kind of stuff I enjoy. It's just hokey, and then the main character is a reporter who goes in to see the conditions of inside the demilitarized zone, Manhattan, and it's him like trying to gain trust with people, and it's Brian Wood is a good writer, so I like that, even though the premise is just and now with Mandami becoming the mayor of New York, I'm like, oh, so it's true now. New York will become like a violent cesspool of gang violence and law and order disorder.
He starts his first day is tomorrow, right? That's his first day.
I think the 6th is when they switch over. But isn't it great?
Are you excited, John?
Oh, it's so great because finally we have a lesbian who's going to be the chief of the fire department. Finally. Maybe now the fire department will be good because it's a fat woman who puts vaginas in her mouth.
And that works so well for Los Angeles, right?
Right. That's going to be so good.
Sir Palisades would love to tell New York how great of an idea that is.
Yeah. I got to put these in the ground. But the art is good. This story, so far, this is my favorite. So he joins like a terrorist organization because he's infiltrating them because he's an actual reporter that does investigative journalism. Go figure. So he joins this group. And the group, once he's in the group, he's basically working. He's just a worker bee. And then he gets grabbed and not quite tortured, but almost tortured and imprisoned and psychologically messed with. And he doesn't give up the terrorist group. He thinks he's caught by the authorities. And then they all take the mask out. It's the terrorist groups just seeing if he was, okay, you passed the test. Now we're going to actually have you do stuff. So what is he doing? He's causing a distraction for this woman to be a suicide bomber. And this woman is this gorgeous Muslim girl. She's just, the way they draw her is just outstanding. And the day before she dies, they basically give her to him. They fool around. And now he catches feelings. So now he's got to distract, and she's got the suicide vest on and everything. And at the last minute, like, he goes to grab her, and she thinks that he's going for one more kiss. She's like, oh, okay. And he takes the vest off and throws the vest into the water. So she's, he messed up the plans because he caught feelings for the girl who was willing to die for the cause, and now she hates him. It's an interesting story. I got to get the last issue to see what happened. But I thought it was like I said, Brian Wood is a good writer. He makes me care about these, even though the premise is hokey. I can't put him here. They keep sliding. This is Final Boss. I don't know why I bought this, but I'm glad I did. I kind of like it. It's a video game plot. You know, it's the same as Shane Davis's. You know, all of Shane Davis comics are just recycled video game plots. But this is a recycled video game plot by a guy who can actually write, so it's pretty good. But this guy, you know, and before every fight, like they show his experience points, they show him leveling up and everything. But this guy is like a mercenary, and he's running out of money. He spends his money too fast, so he basically takes the fight that he shouldn't take. The guy's a monster, and just beats the crap out of him. So this guy's leveling up to fight the final boss. You know, it makes no bones about being a video game plot. Like Shane, if you're going to steal video game plots, admit it. Admit it. You know, like I said before, admit your homages, admit your inspirations. This comic is Robert Kirkman. Yes, I'm a Robert Kirkman fanboy. I buy anything by Robert Kirkman. So this is I guess because Invincible is popular now, they brought this back. This was like a comic that came out around the 200s. I think it lasted 20 issues. So it's that old trope of what if superheroes actually got paid to be superheroes? You know, so that's the premise of this. So Capes is the name of like a for-profit superhero organization. You know, they clock in, they clock out, and stuff like that. And so there's a whole assortment of people. Some of them appeared in Invincible. Some of them appeared in Wolfman and things like that. Now, here's the problem. I have a boxing superhero comic that I'm working on right now, and his daughter was named Knockout, and she's a boxer. And now this character's named Knockout. So do I got to change her name? Like, they look different, you know.
Why? There was a Knockout in DC. She was part of the Secret Six.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Big, tall, red-headed Amazonian.
Yeah, yeah. This one is well, I don't want to give it away, but she's half alien because her mother is from another planet. You know, that's so she has powers.
Oh, I like this. I always did.
Yeah. So this is Powers number 3. This is you know, the 25th anniversary, so they're bringing it back.
Nice.
Now, I really Brian Michael Bendis. I think he's ground zero for wokeification of Marvel Comics. You know, so I'm again, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I don't like him. This is an exception to the point. I actually think he's probably doing something sinister. He's probably ruining all the mainstream comics so that his independent comic looks that much better by comparison. But the problem is all the cool characters from Powers are gone. And now it's a fat lesbian black chief of police woman who ain't gonna take no nonsense, and then the main character is another lesbian black woman who ain't gonna take no nonsense. And Dina Pilgrim, who was the rookie, is now the near retirement level cop who lost her badge, and these two black women have to go and solve all the problems.
Is she a lesbian too now?
Dina, I don't know. Was she? She wasn't. She was straight back in the original run, right?
I know, but they're all lesbians now.
Everybody's lesbians.
There you go.
I'm a lesbian.
Yeah, there you go. You're a lesbian. No, you're not. If you were a lesbian, there'd be more domestic violence at your house.
Well, I'm not. I don't have a girlfriend, so that's why I'm not beating her.
Yep. So, but I don't know. I already pre-ordered the next 3, so I'll give it 5 issues before.
Now, Geiger. I love this. Yes.
Yes, this is so good. This is one of my
Geiger's
favorite comics.
This is the company that I'm really excited about. I like. I really am enjoying the books that are coming from these people.
Everything by Ghost Machine is gold. They do not have a bad book. I can't think of a bad book. I granted I have not read the newest additions to Ghost Machine. The Blank Avenue, whatever it's called, the more smaller kind of stories. I haven't read those. I'm talking about the Prime, Geiger, Redcoat, Junkyard Joe, what's one off planet that's really good?
A Rook.
They wear the masks.
Rook.
Superb. Love
Yeah,
it.
I read Rook 1 and 2, and I missed number 3, so I got to get number 3 before I can catch up.
I haven't got it since it came back. I'm missing something.
Geiger is the only one that I'm caught up on, and I absolutely love it. Redcoat, I think I read the first 3 issues. I love the premise. What if the
It gets better.
Yeah.
It
What if
gets
the
better.
founding fathers knew magic? It's just so great. You know, it's so good.
I wish Scott Snyder would have taken the concept of Absolute Batman and done something his own thing in this company. I think I would have enjoyed that a lot more than, not Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
But Junkyard Joe, the Junkyard Joe one shot was one of the best comics I ever read.
Mhm.
Oh my God, did I love that. So I got to catch up on Rook. I got to say the first issue of Rook, I was really confused because it seemed like 2 different IPs mushed together. And I really liked one of the IPs. Corporation, the terraforming planets, but then the corporations went out of business, so the planets are reverting back to their natural state, which can't support human life. So everybody's fleeing. And then we got these animal masks. It just didn't seem to fit. But everybody's talking about how good it is. So I got to get the missing issue. And
You find out things later.
Right,
You're just not there yet. That's all.
Right. So I was just like, this is like the most schizophrenic book ever.
That's why I loved it.
Right. I trust Jeff Johns, so I'll get the issues that I'm missing and I'll catch them up. But this is excellent. This another Hellboy one shot. Oh, actually, it's a 2-shot. So this is the Ghost Ships of Labrador. Again, it's set in the past. Don't let it. The main investigator is a woman in a wheelchair, but before you start screaming woke, she immediately gets captured. And so they have to send Hellboy out because they sent out a woman in a wheelchair to do investigation. You know what I mean? Just because she's super smart, she's still a woman in a wheelchair. So now Abe and Hellboy have to go and find out what happened to her. And the ghost ship is coming into this coastal town and scaring everybody away. So Hellboy investigates one of the ghosts, and the ghosts are like, "What are you?" He goes, "We're not the bad guys here. We're fleeing that." And then the last page, you find out what the ghosts are scared of. It's really good. I can't wait to read the next issue.
Well, John, have you ever read Baltimore?
Yeah, I love Baltimore.
Yeah, that's a really good series.
Yeah, I love Baltimore. I based a Villains and Vigilantes campaign on Baltimore. So like they were all like witch hunters, and they were French musketeers, that era, and they had to go. So it was before Baltimore, but Baltimore I think was set in like Victorian England, but these were like French musketeers, and they had to go into the Ottoman Empire and recover an artifact. And I don't want to spoil that because it might turn into a comic story, but it was inspired by Baltimore. This is when I was talking about Chris Claremont's plots were so weird and disconnected. This is just like the most weird and disconnected out of all of his plots. This whole, it's great. There's dinosaurs, there's the Savage Land, there's high tech, there's low tech, there's all the X-Men freaking out and fighting and everything. There's this like
I think it's about 119 is when Claremont hits his stride.
Right.
Forming.
That's Garrock the Petrified Man, right?
And it's just like the whole 4 issues that they're in the Savage Land at this point. Each issue has like the flimsiest connective tissue to the next issue, but it's still great. It's still freaking great. Here we got another issue of Miss Tree. So this is Miss Tree gets committed to a psychiatric ward because she killed somebody, and the cops are like, had enough. They investigate it, and she pleads insanity and goes to psychiatric treatment rather than go to jail. So now she goes to psychiatric treatment. While she's in there, somebody tries to kill her because she killed one of their husbands. So one of the women like pretends to be all nice and helpful and everything, and she's like knitting, little tea cozies and everything. It turns out she's just gaining her trust, and she ends up killing her. So she kills somebody, and then that exposes how the psychiatric run is basically like a Somalian daycare. It's just taking money and messing with people. and then it's like jumps ahead 6 months. Now she's like being drugged into compliance, and it's real creepy. That kind of stuff scares me. So like she's coming out of jail and she's scared. Like they give her like they're like, hey, here you get your gun back. She's like, no guns ever again. I'm not I'll do all the paperwork in the cup. Like it's not her person. It's almost like the body snatchers took her over. That kind of stuff terrifies me. Messing with your identity. That is the scariest horror of all. That's why I think The Invasion of the Body Snatchers is one of the scariest movies ever made. Oh, we got one of my favorite posters. Your boy Zach Matters. Happy New Year. Damn comic book tourist. John is repeating me. I said Junkyard Joe is good first. Applaud me now. You're absolutely right. Your boy Zach Matters, he does everything first. He does everything best. Yeah. Arkham, this guy's spoofing Zach, right? He's not okay. I didn't want you to fight with him.
Yeah, you saw the calm demeanor on my face.
Yeah. It's funny because the first time he posted, I got like all pissed off. I was like, "What the?" And then I realized, it's wonderful troll account. You got me, your boy Zach Matters. I actually, my face lights up when he posts. I just think it's so funny. When you've been around long enough and that people can accurately spoof you,
Yeah. You know what? If Zach actually, or whatever his real name is, came on and wanted to actually sit down and talk comic books, I'd have no freaking problem with it.
I would love to. I invite him
really to sit down and talk comics.
But that's he doesn't want to talk with anybody else.
No.
Because I think everything will fall apart if he actually has our legit conversation. I mean, look at the one time the guy turned down Joe Rogan. Talk about self-sabotage.
That's about Joe Rogan was a birthday party clown.
So he turned down Joe Rogan, and then he went on that other show that just edited him and made him look like a fool. So anytime he tries to talk with other people, it doesn't work. But anyway, I would love to have him on. But anyway, this is really weird for me. I was going through my collection, and I was missing this. I had the other 3 issues of the 4-issue series, and that just drives me nuts. So I bought it, and it's literally been sitting in this stack of comics for years. I would constantly, every time it came to the top, I'd put it at the bottom. So let me just read it. It's 1 issue. This was actually fun. Out of the 4 issues series, this was the funnest one, But you know how I am. I don't particularly like these Image 90s comics. I know they're all the rage now in the crowdfunding scene. It's not my stuff. I mean, literally, Eddie is Doomed. 90s comics is like a big part of why Eddie is doomed, So you see how I feel about 90s comics. But this, as far as the 90s comics goes, it wasn't too bad.
I mean, there was some good comics in the 90s for sure.
It was.
Just,
there
was a load of shit.
Bone was good.
But yeah. The thing is, even as bad as the 90s were, they're not as bad as they are in current time. Comics in current time are just.
Oh, yeah. What are you nuts? Comics are great now. Don't you read that?
I do think they're getting better, especially because indie is completely showing Marvel and DC that you can sell if you write good stories. Just Marvel hasn't figured it out yet, and DC's trying.
Right.
Somewhat.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. To me, story matters. Story is the most important. Like, yeah, I'll buy your comic because the art looks cool. Because if I don't know you, if I don't know anything about it, the cover and the art is going to sell me on it. But issue 2, I'm getting because the story is good. But I got this because I'm a big Garth Ennis fan. Now, Garth Ennis is getting a little too woke for my taste. Maybe he always was and I didn't notice it. But this is woke Red Sonja. But the thing is, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. So I don't know if he's poking fun of woke or if he's poking fun of non-woke or if he's just having a laugh at everybody. And it was good enough that I enjoyed all 6 issues. Now, this is Ahoy Comics. And this is like Jamal Igle and all these guys. So I get the feeling that in order to be published by Ahoy Comics, you got to be woke. So I don't know. But Garth Ennis is skillful enough that I really am guessing, is this him making fun of right-wingers? Or is this him making fun of everybody?
It's fun. The best part of that is at the dying breath of woke, because it is pretty much dead, thank God. It's just meandering, unfortunately, a little too long. A lot of movies that were woke became so woke they were self-deprecating, and it was hilarious. I'm like, you guys gone so far, you're literally making fun of yourselves now. It's great. It's some of the stuff like that heroin movie where the princess didn't need any saving, or oh my god, it was like, do you not see how stupid this is? There's no way you can't see.
I mean, look at this. The other girl is a bald black lesbian, you know, and it's funny because one of the there's like a powerful ogre, and they don't have their weapons on them, so like flash them, and she's just like, yeah, okay, I'll just flash him and distract him, and this one goes like, oh man, like, you know, like she's just like, the idea of like flashing a man is like turns her stomach. It was actually pretty funny, but she wasn't really interested, but whatever gets the job done, if flashing him is what it takes. It was just kind of, like I said, so I don't really know, is this Garth Ennis making fun of me, or is this Garth Ennis just making fun of everybody? So
I'd have to read those.
Yeah,
I always thought him as being woke.
I'm sorry.
I said there was a strong stench of progressiveness in his work. I mean, I always said that you know, I don't know anything about his private life, but Garth Ennis reminded me of somebody that was molested as a child by a Catholic priest wearing a Superman shirt. And that guy's very, very hateful in his views, and I always thought he was kind of woke. That being said, I really love this Punisher run.
So he's basically like Alan Moore.
Yeah, well, a less intelligent Alan Moore.
Well, Alan Moore loves superheroes, but he also started the whole deconstruction of superheroes. But
right, but at the same time, he says he absolutely hates them now.
Right, but Alan Moore says whatever.
Yeah,
whatever, he likes to be. I believe he's just a contrarian. Like whatever you expect him to say, he's going to say the opposite just because he's Alan Moore.
Probably.
Because Garth Ennis hates superheroes,
and he hates the Catholic Church.
And the thing about Preacher, I thought it was like the Preacher character was Jesse Custer was a terrible person at the beginning, and he redeemed himself towards the end. I thought it was like and it became a very pro-American comic towards the end. I didn't start reading it until around issue 40, because I was just like, this is just another guy who hates America, hates the church, and hates all this stuff. But I started to realize, like through my friend's comics, I was like, oh, I see what he's doing. He starts out bad, and the whole comic is a redemption arc, you know. And so I kind of liked it. And then, of course, Seth Rogen made the TV show about it that took out anything that was pro-religion, anything pro-America. I just love the fact that like Jewish people can make movies about how bad the Catholic Church is. Like, can you imagine like making a bunch of Catholics making movies making fun of Jewish faith? It would never happen. So that's one of the reasons why I want to make my Santa Claus story. I want a Catholic kid to make.
And that's why we thank God we have Mel Brooks.
You know, well, Mel Brooks I think is pretty fair. Although I didn't see History of the World 2. Mel Brooks is, you know, that's also he makes fun of everybody. Mel Brooks made fun of everybody and took the piss out of everybody, and mostly himself too. You know, this comic Voyeur, it's not as dirty as you think. She takes her top off once just as a distraction. So I only got issue number 1, so it's not really nudity. But what it is this guy is going to rob an art museum, and he's the security guard, so he's watching everything. So he's the voyeur, and she is this beautiful girl. She's casing out the place because she wants to rob the place. So she's casing the place, and she notices that the security cameras are on her because he's can't help but look at this beautiful girl. So she looks at the camera and starts making it obvious that he sees. So she's just like, what are you doing? You're an amateur. And she starts realizing that this guy really is way over his head. She goes, you want to rob this place? This is how you do it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm starting to like heist comics. You know, here's Kick-Ass. Okay, these are all good orders. But this is Kick-Ass 2. I read Kick-Ass 1 about a month or 2 ago. And I got to say, Mark Millar's comics are such easy reads. They're so much fun to read, but sorry, Mark, I know you've been on my channel. The extreme violence start to get to me. You know, I'm taking a break. I'm trying to read all of the Miller World comics in order because I just got them and read them out of order. I got to take a break. The next one, I got to get one issue of Super Crooks so I have the full 4-issue run so I can read it. But I'm taking a break because the extreme violence is just it's wearing on my soul. Like people like
I like it when it's used more sparingly with the extreme violence, and that's I think probably one of the reasons why I love the end of the cosmic saga that Marvel did with the Cancerverse and brought in the Guardians of the Galaxy. At the last battle, you know, Annihilus is nearly invulnerable. So Richard Rider, as he's almost dying, reaches in through the opening of Annihilus's mouth, grabs his insides and pulls them out. Right? Nova's doing that. And I'm just like, it was so awesome because you don't see that too often in a comic book. That's, you know, a Marvel.
Also, Annihilus is a giant insect from another dimension. This is just filled with like people breaking into a house.
It's humans, so it's different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't know who Kick-Ass's secret identity is, so they're going to anybody that might be associated with them and just doing harm. And I'm like, yeah, they're bad people. They're bad people, but I can only consume that much before it gets to like the Nemesis comic. I remember I read that when it first came out. Geez, what 15 years? And I'm like, I'm never rereading this. It was so egregiously violent. It made me feel ill. Like I remember my friends were like, we're gonna watch Old Boy. I'm like, I'm out. Like I looked up what it's about. I don't want to see it. You know, I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm not really a prude, but even extreme graphic nudity is starting to get to me. Extreme graphic violence. I don't know. I'm not that edgy punk rocker that I was. You know. But I do like it. He's a great writer. I really do like it. But I'm taking a break before I get into Super Crooks. I read Secret Service. That's in here. I loved it. I was laughing out loud. I thought it was brilliant. But at the same time, it's kind of extra violent, you know. Student of God said I read almost everything. Yeah, me too. The only thing I didn't read, I started with the Ultimates, but I don't care for other versions of my favorite characters. I want the regular versions of my favorite, you know. What did I miss? Just me talking about comics and Tony showing up in our comment. Here's the last issue of Babs. You know, the last issue. Okay, so 4-3. Okay, so these are the covers. I'll show them. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I don't know if the jokes are at my expense or if the jokes are just at everybody's expense. But you know, this was kind of funny. I do like that they put in the Hobbit from the Rankin and Bass Hobbit cartoons. He's always walking around the background. I thought that was just a nice touch, you know. And then there was a joke that you knew was going to happen. It had like a joke was set up in issue 1 and it finally paid off in issue 3. You know, so
I like those.
Happened, you were like, finally, this fruit joke finally happened.
I do not mind long threads and continuous stories. I enjoy those, especially like with a Mark Millar book. When you're like reading Hit Girl or something like that, there's a joke reference to something that happened in a prior issue, or it leads up to a joke coming up in 3 issues. I dig those. It's almost like British humor, you know. You lay the breadcrumbs, and then when you find it, you know, it turns out to be pretty funny. I love that stuff.
The little beach is back. My God, that's edgy. Whew, so edgy.
So this is Hit Girl, you know, spin off of so this is Kick-Ass, and then Hit Girl, and then Kick-Ass 2, and then Kick-Ass 3. I think is another character. I didn't read Kick-Ass 3 because I just got tired of all the violence. But I'll pick it up and read it. But this is Hit Girl. It's typical Kick-Ass story. If you like Kick-Ass, it's more of the same. But what I really like is she's going to school and trying to be a normal girl, and she doesn't fit in. And normal girls are mean. So like the girls are like making fun of her and teasing her and stuff like that. And what I like about it, she will not admit that it bothers her, but her internal thought is like, why is this bothering me so much? You know, why, you know, and I like that part of the story. So now she's training Kick-Ass how to be a better fighter, how to be a better superhero. And then in a moment of weakness, she says, "Can you teach me how to be a normal girl?" So Kick-Ass, he doesn't know how to be a normal girl. He's a boy, you know what I mean? So he tells her what shows to watch, what makeup to wear, you know, and she goes to school with like the right clothes, makeup on, and the girls just laugh at her. They're like, "Look how hard you're trying," you know? And so, you know, I thought that was just brilliant. I thought that was really good. So I don't want to tell you, but she's just like, okay. So she just like, she drugs the girl, throws her off the roof with a rope, and says like, "You're going to leave me alone." You know what I mean? Like she's going to go back to what works for her. I thought that was really good. It's funny. I'm so, when I took a knife to cut open the bag, I put a freaking crease down this. I'm so pissed. So that drives me nuts. I'm so pissed. But anyway, I really liked it. This is Chuck Dixon. For those of you who don't know, Chuck Dixon, Joe Bennett. This is the Horseman, Rippaverse Comics. This is their Vigilante. I did a review on it, and the Rippaverse guys were waiting for me to talk about this comic. I liked it. You know, to cut to the chase, I really liked it. I mean, it had all my buttons. Chuck Dixon, he's a great writer. This was just Batman. You know, no great shakes. I don't think Chuck Dixon will get upset that I said that. It's a Batman story, and it's another one of my buttons that I really like. I like rookie superheroes. You know, I love that, the superhero who's starting out. You know, and then what I really liked about it is he's Chuck Dixon said that that the Punisher is selfish. He said, "Give me the Punisher in one word." In an interview, he said he's selfish. And I never thought about that. But then Chuck elaborated. This guy is the personification of selfish. He's kind of dumb. He makes stupid mistakes. So this guy is I don't want to say ex-Ranger. Like I don't know. They get a little like upset. But like he was a Ranger, an Army Ranger. He's you know, honorably discharged, and he can't fit in, and this guy's like an elite fighter, so he just puts on a costume and starts beating up criminals and taking their money. So he's totally motivated for money. So that's how he's paying. His sister's in a wheelchair. You know, his sister's got a kid. The sister's husband was murdered, so he's taking care of his sister and a little kid, and he's paying the bills. He's lying to them. He says he's like a computer IT guy, and he's out all night. He works the night shift, and he's like, "Yeah, I go to the gym before I come home," and he sleeps all day, and he's got like tens of thousands of dollars from drug, but he got it. So this starts out, he's in too deep. He leaves where he's from, and he goes to the Rippaverse main city, the Rippaverse metropolis. I forget the name of it. And then he immediately gets into trouble again. Now, my criticism was it all happened too fast. This whole book is like 3 or 4 or 5 days. You know what I mean? I thought it should have taken more time. And they hired Nazis. Like, that's fine. There's Nazi bad guys. But what I didn't like is the drug dealers like, "This guy's messing me up so bad, I got to hire Nazis." Like, come on, you're a drug dealer. Like, you just hire whoever does the best job. Like, I just thought that was like, come on, Chuck. That was, you could have done without that line. And I like that he was a goof. He made really bad mistakes. And then at the end, he gets rescued by Alpha Core. I was like, I like a flawed hero. I like a weak hero. But in his very first appearance, he got rescued by other heroes. Like Alpha, it was a big shootout. Bombs are going off and stuff like that. Alpha Core, see, of course they're going to show up. But I think Alpha Core should have showed up while Horseman was crawling and everybody's all defeated and like passes out at their feet. And then they investigate and they find out that this guy's not the bad guy. That, you know, far be it for me to criticize Chuck Dixon, but there I am. I criticize Chuck.
I read Alpha Core. I didn't like it. I mean, is this better written than Alpha Core?
Yeah, this isn't Chuck's wheelhouse. It's a Batman story. You know, it's a story.
I actually enjoyed Alpha Core.
I read Alpha Core. It wasn't my favorite.
It wasn't my favorite, but I enjoyed it.
But this by far was the best Rippaverse comic I've ever read. You know, prior to this, I liked Gooding. So I said, "Sorry, Mike Barron, this one takes over." Mike gave me a thumbs up. Oh, there's comments that I'm ignoring. Hey, Once Was Cool says Happy New Year's. You too. Happy New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's. You know, I probably won't see you guys till Sunday. Mark has the ability to reinvent superhero stories and make you care. Huck is a great book. Yeah, Huck, I want to read.
Very good.
Huck is more wholesome. Like when Mark Miller is like schizophrenic, when he does violence, it's like disturbing levels of violence. But when he does wholesome, it's like heartwarming. Like, did you read Starlight? I thought that was so good. You know, it was very, you know, it was like a Flash Gordon type story. The guy used to be Flash Gordon in his youth, and he can't get back to that planet where he was the emperor. He was going to marry the empress, and now he's just an older guy, you know. And now they call him because they need him again. I love that kind of story. In one of Mark's stories, he had a character pretend to be gay to be chosen for the super team. You don't know at the time, but when he admits he's lying, I died laughing. Yet Kick-Ass in the comic also pretended to be gay so he could go to the sleepover parties with the girls, and then they just ended up hating him. Or
There's an old song called the Bloodhound Gang called "I Wish I Was Queer So I Can Get Chicks." Absolutely hilarious.
The new arc of the Horseman is fantastic. Can't wait for the. Yeah, I got the. Chuck sent me. So this is the one shot Horseman, and then so the next issue is number 1 of the regular series. Chuck sent me an autographed copy of that, so I couldn't read it because I had to. I had to read this first, and then I freaking took a knife and scored the cover. I'm so mad. So this is the Secret Service. I got this when it came out, and I absolutely loved it. And I reread it because I'm trying to read them all, and I loved it just as much. You know, it was violent, but it was just the right amount of violence. It wasn't egregiously violent like Hitman. It was no more violent than a James Bond flick. You know, more Hit Girl. So I got to say this. John Romita Jr. draws children that look like absolute abominations. You know, that is just horrifying. That does not look even human. But name a comic book artist who could draw children. You know,
even the great John Byrne cannot draw children.
John Byrne's children look like monsters.
Oh, Arthur Adams can draw children well.
Alan Davis could draw children well.
Yeah, Alan Davis too. Yeah, both of them. You know why? Look at both their works. It's very round, very circular in their art. How they draw their biceps and shoulders. They're not a very square jigged like John Romita is. So when they draw children who are softer features, it works better.
But look at that. That's just an abomination.
That looks like a miniature, like insane Princess Diana.
It's funny because the bad guys keep calling her a midget, and she's like, "I'm not a midget." So I wonder if they were just like referencing the art, you know, because she's drawing like a midget. So this is Punchline. This is Bill Williams' comic. This is, you know, he crowdfunds his comics, and then they come out in the newsstand later on. So I always crowdfund them because, for those of you who don't know, full disclosure, Bill Williams is my pre-press and my letterer. So if you ever need any, he also does inking, but Renzo inks his own stuff. So if you ever need inking, pre-press, or lettering, go to Bill Williams. You know, reach out to me. I'll put you in contact. I think his lettering is outstanding. I couldn't imagine going to anybody else. So I support him on the crowdfunds. And so I got all the covers, the metallic cover, you know, the regular cover. And I got to say, this issue, more than anything else, it just reminded me of Elementals. It just had an Elementals vibe to it, which...
That's a good problem to have. Elementals was
right.
awesome.
Well, Elementals is one of my favorite comics. Bill Williams is friends with Bill Willingham of the Elementals, and Bill Williams wrote the original Heroic Tales comic, which was a spin-off of Pantheon, which was an unofficial finishing the Elemental story. So there is a connection between that. So, but Versima shows up in Heroic Tales number 2. Let's see. We got John Delarose. Greetings, AI enjoyers. So you're in the wrong chat. Nobody here likes AI. AI is what people without talent, low effort people do to pretend to be an author. So you're in the wrong chat. My first AI comic is almost done getting layouts. Good.
Like I said, John, if you're going to do that, just make sure everyone's aware that this is an AI book.
Right. Put it.
That's all I have to say.
Commit to the bit. If you're so proud of it being AI, let people know you AI. Put your name on your AI novels. You know,
if you do that and you sell $1 million, good for you, dude. I want to get on that gambit. But just be honest about it. Just tell the people.
I figure I triggered John. All you're doing is make me laugh. You think you're an author. You know, you think you're an author. He lost it on me and blocked me. It's my right. Yeah. Access to me is your right. You're so entitled. Yeah. Having AI write your book is something that will piss me. Yeah, good. Write your AI book. Send it to copy to me. I can use some toilet paper. So anyway,
by AI, I mean, is the computer writing the book, or is it drawing the book? What's he doing?
It's a comic. So he's doing
it to write it.
So AI is doing all of the work, and he's taking all the credit. Because JDA has no faith in himself or his talent, so he's just going to have a computer do all the stuff, and then he's going to strut around like a peacock, pretending that he actually did something important.
Which doesn't make sense to me, because people before this AI thing caught on, nobody said his books were horrible. So why would he go to AI to do the books if he's already can write decently? Makes no sense. It's just being lazy. Did you freeze, John?
I was just reading the comments. I don't know. JDA has a right to access to me. JDA, it's really pathetic how you want approval from me. You're not going to get it. You want approval from me? Actually, Arkham over here has killed himself to actually draw a panel. You know, this guy is putting in the work. That is respect. Guy's working hard to draw a comic. You know, he's showing me rough outs. He's sweating. He's erasing. The paper's got holes in it because he's dealing with it. You know what I mean?
Go to digital because I erased too goddamn much.
Yeah, that is hard work. Typing in prompts and then strutting around like you're a peacock. You're a fool. JDA, you're a fool. Go watch Stranger Things. Be gay. Put on a furry costume and be a fool. You know, that's all censorship. Yeah. Look at this guy. He wants my approval so much. It's actually pathetic. It's actually embarrassing, dude. Have some self-respect. Have some self-respect. Okay. JDA, have some self-respect.
Hey, John, did you ever see the live action FX Legion series? Because Amal Farouk was in it. And the Shadow King, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
This is the first appearance of Amal Farouk, the Shadow King, and I remember this in my mind as a kid. I always disliked this comic because it wasn't the X-Men. It was Charles Xavier. I never liked Xavier. I always thought he was a shady character, like morally bad guy. He turned into the Entity and wiped out like a whole planet in the microverse. Then he turned into Onslaught and killed more New Yorkers than Bin Laden. You know, but he's just a good guy. And he wants to be treated like everybody else. He's like living proof that X-Men need to be persecuted.
But that '90s block, after I think Extinction Agenda and try to remember the island it took place on. Genosha. Everything after that just turned to absolute shit. And Onslaught, I never liked the Onslaught or the Reborn series that Marvel did. That was some of the worst Marvel books ever.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Bad.
I mean, you can't be any worse than Niles Calder. Niles Calder was pretty scummy. The chief from Doom Patrol.
The original Niles Calder was insensitive, but he wasn't a bad guy. It wasn't until Grant Morrison turned him into a full-on supervillain. You know,
I think it was pretty scummy to take a dude's brain and stick it into a robot and not tell him. Can you imagine waking up like that and
die? You know what I mean? I could see your point in that one. But what's better, to die or to live on in a robot body and then go on adventures?
I guess, but remember, he couldn't touch anything. He couldn't feel anything. You know, it was pretty. It kind of sucked. Poor Chris.
I think RoboCop 2 did that pretty well when they were trying to put the different prisoners' minds in the robots, and they all had different, sensory issues that drove them insane and ended up self-destructing. I like that. And then the one psychopath that didn't mind being disassociated from reality, just as long as he can kill more. I love that as in a robot's body. It's like that you put a killer in a robot's body. Thanks. Brr, dead people everywhere.
And you forgot, Arkham, he was also a drug addict. Remember?
Who was?
In
King.
RoboCop 2, King.
Yeah, he did a nuke.
I don't think I've ever seen RoboCop 2.
It's actually good.
It's great.
Three is where three wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible. It was just
Now I'm doubting it. I don't know if I ever saw RoboCop 2.
As much as a Frank Miller fan as you are, John, he practically wrote RoboCop too.
I remember rage quitting.
It's very Frank Miller too.
Mhm.
He wrote RoboCop 1 also.
No,
And 3. He did 3. And
he
3
did
was not
2 and
great.
3.
Oh, okay. So anyway, back to this comic. This is basically Charles Xavier's backstory of Charles Xavier. I always thought it was like an inventory issue, and I didn't like it. But looking at it this Sunday for the first time in 20 years, I actually really, really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Really good.
I enjoyed it as a kid. That was surprised me you didn't like it because I enjoyed it. I thought I liked seeing characters that were out of place because Charles was very out of place in that issue.
Right.
And I thought what's his name looked absolutely frightening. The Shadow King.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fat,
You got,
robust guy with the fez on his head. I'm like, yeah, that guy looks intimidating.
like for those of you who don't know, in that issue, Charles Xavier, he you know, the timeline is wonky. So he just finished he was in the Korean War. So he's a Korean War vet, and he's wealthy, and he was gonna marry Myra McTaggart. He goes off to war. While he's in war, Myra McTaggart dumps him, and she gets with the guy who's going to become the father of Proteus. So he's just brokenhearted. All of his plans are messed up. He doesn't know what to do. He was just going to basically get married and live a life of like a regular father guy. But all his plans, so he doesn't know what to do. And that kind of got me. Now that I'm an adult, I thought that was more poignant than when I read it as a kid. So he just travels the world. And he's in Egypt. He runs into Infant Storm, who looks like an absolute monster because even John Byrne can't draw children. And then he has like a psychic battle with Farouk. But unsaid, it was really sleazy. It was a brothel where the women were slaves. Like if you read the body language of the people and this mind controlling mutant, it was really, really scary. It was like a horror issue. So I liked it a lot more as an adult, that I saw the adult themes that Claremont and I guess Jim Shooter and the Comics Code Authority couldn't expressively put in the comic. Like again, people who criticized Heroic Tales 1 because of, you know, the story of the suit, you guys aren't reading comics. There was a lot of horror stuff that maybe I hit it a little bit too on the nose than other people, but you know, Chris Claremont did some really, really adult, in the best sense of the word, stories, if you read between the words. So before I get, this is I'll talk about this in a minute, but let's get for this guy who just, you know, I may be an asshole. I fully admit that I'm but I'm not the kind of asshole that goes where I'm not wanted. Unlike JDA, Jay, you're not welcome here. You know, John Byrne made comics of Star Trek, screenshots, and put them in. Yeah, that's called a Fumetti book. JDA, make a Fumetti book. Get the license, get the will of the Gene Roddenberry estate, and make a Fumetti book. It's not AI generated. You're a clown. If that guy for not putting in the work. John Byrne put in some of the best comic books ever made. He could do no wrong. And if he does AI work, I will condemn him for doing that too.
Saying John Byrne didn't put in work sorry, JD, that's about the dumbest thing you could
Chuck
say.
Dixon did the AI thing. It bombed horribly, and I told him that. I said, nobody wants AI stuff. You know what I mean? Like, the best people in the world make mistakes too. But a Fumetti is an Italian thing. Bring it up with the Italians. And I didn't buy the Fumetti book.
I got a question, John. Maybe you could answer it for me. If I make a book with AI, right?
Yeah.
Then does the copyright of the characters that I made go to the software company?
Ask JDA. He's the AI expert. I don't know.
So you wouldn't own your own characters then? I mean, it's weird. I don't know.
You can own a copyrighted, or you can copyright an AI generated character specifically because it pulls from outside public sources. So all this is a conglomeration of things that are available that other people already own.
Okay.
And the thing is, here's the thing is, I believe, I can be wrong, you pull up an AI image that you say this is your art, there's software already set aside that can scan it and go inside and read the data and say, no, this is fake. So when people start going to push out, hey, I drew this book. Well, we're going to find out if you
the
did.
thing is, like, AI draws everything else and combines it and makes just a mishmash, which is what JD already does. Like, he already rips off Warhammer and makes a Warhammer spoof. He already rips off other superhero stuff. He already rips off other romance novels. So, like, he's already like pre-AI before he's ready. He's nothing but a chameleon. He might as well be the Wheelers, but with less boobs.
Sure.
Yeah. So JDA, let me make this specific. You're a clown. You want my approval. You're not going to get it. And all you did was give EVS another thing to talk about on Trashcast. So congratulations. You got EVS's mortgage paid for the month. Or not really. The guy's only making like $100 in super chat these days. JDA is the Ed Wood of that's too much credit because
I like Ed Wood. Don't say that.
Ed Wood, but he's a clown. He's a clown who's dying for my approval. This is pathetic. JDA, keep coming in all my channels and keep giving EVS Trashcast material because that's what he's going to do. Katie did in her meth trailer. It's going to clip this. It's going to go on Sunday night for Trashcast, and then they're going to laugh at you again. And then he's going to call me Dongbox because EVS is about as original as you, JD. Because, that's what Comicsgate is, the graveyard where has-been comic book personalities go to die. But anyway, this is my comic. This is autographed by everybody. I sent this to Daniel, to Oscar, to Romo, to myself, to Brian Bow, Bill Williams, Matt Bear, and Fabrizio Aiello. So this is the only copy in existence I have a copy for myself. This is the only copy in existence that's autographed by everybody involved. And there's a silent auction that's going to end tomorrow. So if you're interested in this, send me an email or a Twitter DM with your bid. It cost me $100 to ship it to everybody, so that was the minimum bid. It's already been well exceeded. I don't want to give out the numbers because that's what a silent auction is. If you're interested, and if not tomorrow, I will let the winner know who the winner is.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Oh,
what are the differences between Superman and Patriarch? You ever read the comic? Read the comics. They're vastly different. They're vastly. You're just a clown. Yeah, you're a clown. All I'm hearing right now is honking noises. Anybody hear honking noises? I thought was a bad thing. Hey, buddy. Oh, this is Romo right here. Me and Britt wish everybody Happy New Year. Romo is working on a story for the Raven called Curtains, and he's not using AI because he's an actual artist with talent who could do things. So there you go. JDA, read the Raven in the comments. I'm never acknowledging you ever again, so my chat will just laugh at you. There you go. My New Year's pledge. I'm never talking about Comicsgate again, and I'm never talking about JDA again. So if you come into the comments, rant and rave all you want, chat, go at them, but I will never acknowledge them. It'll be like driving by and looking at a guy dancing in the street for money. Look at me.
Flipping his Little Caesar sign.
They're both eyes spinning around, and then we just keep going about our business. So this is the last comic in Comics. This is Eerie Magazine. This is number 8. It's not in the best condition. I would have liked it in better condition, but this was the only one that I saw that was available. And this is a horror anthology, Warren Magazine. Oh, I'm not showing it. Warren Magazine. Can you believe this was 35 cents? For this. Here is a regular comic size. It's a black and white, and so far every issue ends with this glorious Steve Ditko artwork. Oh my God, it's so good. The art, it's black and white, and then with like a gray tones. Every story seemed to be written by Archie Goodwin, and it's horror stories, morality plays. You know what I mean? Like, they told you not to dig there, and then you dig there, and then you got eaten by a zombie. Like,
is that a Brom cover?
This is Frazetta.
Oh, it is a Frazetta. Okay,
you can see this over here. Now, I'm curious, Arkham, you're a big Frazetta fan. Did he paint these specifically for it, or did like War Magazine just like use Frazetta covers and pay like a royalty fee or something?
No,
like
I think these are specifically for Erie. He like I know most of the time because it takes so long. Because of course he has to he photographs his artists first and sets up the lights and does all that shit. So I'm assuming it's very specific unless they saw this one piece and said we have to have that for the cover. He's usually hires per job.
Right, because there's a new comic, there's a new company called Warrant, and they had a magazine called Creeps. You know, so it totally fooled me. I thought it was Warrant magazine coming out with a new Creepy, so I bought it. I bought like 4 or 5 issues all at once, and then I realized it was another company trying to trick you. But I actually liked it, so no harm, no foul. And they use like Frazetta and Boris Vallejo stuff that I've ever. And San Julian, is that the guy's name? Is that how you say his name? They use his art for their covers, so they must just like get like a licensing fee or something like that to reuse these images.
You know who I don't see in other mediums, just in heavy metal, but his art is absolutely made for fantasy and really dark storyline, is Luis Rojo.
Okay.
Yeah, if you know that name,
yeah,
look him up. I mean, I don't understand why he's not on the covers of so many magazines. Maybe he just doesn't want his art for magazines.
That or it's expensive, you know.
I mean, he's worth every dime.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yep.
Hey, John, have you ever been to the Frazetta Museum?
No, it's funny because every year it's only 2 hours away from me, and every year I want to go. I actually called them up and asked them, like, can I just go there? You know, can me and my wife just take a day trip and drive out there? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like, what am I, like, I don't want to go there and then find out like I'm supposed to put in a bid for something or like, you know, or I drive out there and it's like, no, you have to be like, you're not an art like. So I called them and they were like, yeah, you could just go. Like, it's on like a private estate or something like that. Like, so I want to go. It's 2 hours away in Pennsylvania. It's a small place. And I know that they had problems a couple of years ago. Like one of the sons went in and stole all the artwork, you know, and then
that's ridiculous.
You know, they always say that never trust the son of a millionaire, you know, like they grow up entitled. And
well, his daughter's doing a lot for him, isn't she?
Right. Yeah. I met
Frazetta or something like that.
Meeting. She was at a comic convention and I went, and that was kind of awkward because I went over that. That's how I found out about the Frazetta Museum. I was asking about it. She gave me a card and everything like that. And then it was just like, are you going to buy something? I'm like, thank you, goodbye. You know, like I didn't want to buy like a big $100 art print. What I really want is an oversized hardcover of all the Frazetta books. Does that exist? That's got to exist.
I know, yeah, Frazetta has several art books. I don't think there's any like everything published kind of book for him. I think it'd just be too much because the man has hundreds of paintings. He was always working. He never stopped.
One of my favorite stories about Frazetta. Well, first up, he grew up in Brooklyn, and he was a baseball player. And the rumor has it that he was actually being scouted, that he could have been a professional baseball player, but he would rather do art. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but like I do find that really talented people seem to be talented in a lot of things. You know, it's almost like not fair. Like the handsome actor can also sing, and then you find out that he's also a painter. You're like, oh man, this is not. Come on, man. I'm just trying to get through the day, and this guy's like a virtuoso violinist and pianist, and you know what I mean, and an actor, and he's good looking. But like Frazetta, supposedly he was like like when they did that Ralph Bakshi, Fire and Ice, that Frazetta was like doing stunts and showing them how to do it. Like he had like basically a loincloth on and running around and falling and swinging out of trees to you know what I mean? Like he was a full on.
Fire and Ice literally is a Frazetta painting come to life.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite. And if you buy the DVD, it comes with the documentary about Frazetta. That's why I found out about him playing baseball. But
my father's got an original Thomas Kincaid background.
What's that?
I said my dad collects a few bits of original art, and like one of his joys is a background painted for Fire and Ice that was done by Thomas Kincaid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he loves that piece. Beautiful. I remember asking him about it because he loves Frazetta. He loves Fire and Ice. You know, he loves Ralph Bakshi.
I
That
didn't
was
know.
really,
I didn't know that Thomas Kincaid did backgrounds for it's
and
so.
also the guy that did Arkham. Are you familiar with a cartoon in the '90s called Aeon Flux?
Mhm.
Yeah, Peter Chung worked on a Fire and Ice as well.
Did he?
Hmm.
I even liked his follow-up series. I think it was called Rain or Blood Rain or something like that.
I don't remember that, but I remember I loved the Phantom 2040. I thought he really did do a good job on that one.
Did you see the one he did for the Greek mythology on Netflix?
Yes, I did. Yes.
His art for Greek mythology.
Mhm.
It was very well done.
I got send me a link to that. I want to watch that. I didn't know it even existed. Goodbye now.
The name of it.
A lot of comic artists can play instruments. I love Quesada's Christmas music. I didn't know Quesada made Christmas music. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, some people like Fabrizio Aiello, who does he writes, he draws, he colors, he letters. Horace.
I sculpt.
Yeah, there you go. But he also sculpts. He also plays an instrument. He's binding books right now. You know, he wants to write a play. Oh man, you know what I mean? Like I think I'm artistic because I write scripts on Sundays. You know what I mean? Like the only thing that I do is I get enthusiastic and I get it done. You know, that's but I guess getting things done is a talent because like whenever I get into stuff, I do it. You know, my friend's like, oh wow, you're moving on to the next thing. You know, so I hope the comic book thing lasts for 10 years or so because sometimes
It's taken me about 4 days to write about 2 pages. I go over it and over it and over it, and it's just like,
well, you should just hit AI. You should just hit AI and move on.
Yeah. That's like I'm gonna send you like a 6-page little preview thing and say,
but
okay.
Arthur, why write it? Just hit AI and move on, and then get the accolades as an author.
I have pride.
Does he proofread it? Because I've read some AI generated articles, and they read like AI. They read like a robot wrote them.
You know what's funny? I was talking with RJ from the Fourth Age on a comic book team up a couple of weeks ago, and he got me to listen to like a lot of like esoteric philosophy and stuff. So I was listening to somebody talk about Plato. I was in my car driving, and he said that Plato was believed in. I'm sure I'm going to mess this up, so forgive me, everybody. But he broke everything up kind of into like the logos and the mani, and the logos is logic. You know, human beings have logic, and we figure things out, and you know, this step leads to this step leads to this step, and that's what AI does. AI gets that pretty good. You know, you got to give credit where like a doctor putting in the symptoms into an AI. I'm more powerful for that. That's like another opinion to save somebody's life. That's not art. You know, that's just and somebody like putting in a case into law, and then the AI figuring out like according to the laws. Like to me, I got no problem with that. But you know, provided a human being is the end arbiter. But anyway, but then Plato says that there's the mani, and the mani is all the stuff that can't be described with logic and science, like dreams, or he says like divine inspiration, or like bouts of madness. And he says every human being has that, and every human being experiences it. And I started thinking, now this is me pulling away from Plato, the logic, and the logos and the mani. This is why AI will never be as good as a human, because it only has the logos. It doesn't have the mani. You know what I mean? And you know, we have the left brain, we have the right brain, we have 2 cortexes, and they're always battling it out. And well, you know, how many times? I don't, Tony. Do you write? Do you paint? Do you know?
I paint as a hobby. I love that. I've written a lot. In fact, when this whole AI business came up, I had this idea: get one of my older horror stories, like and just trying to see if I could use AI to draw the thing. But then everyone was like, "Oh, that's awful, that's awful." So I just kind of stopped, and just didn't want to continue with it. But I can't lie. I was actually thinking about, just as an exercise, what it would look like.
I did some Grok, put some pictures into Grok and watch myself move around and stuff like that. It's a toy,
Mhm.
Whatever. I was going to say something I shouldn't say, but anyway, like writing a story, all of a sudden, for no reason, no logical reason whatsoever, an idea came, and I said, "That's a good idea." Now, does AI do that? Because Chuck Dixon said he was playing around with AI scripts just to see. And he says like it follows a pattern so logically that it's kind of dull. And then I forget somebody else. They said that the problem with AI is they don't get horny, so they'll never replicate good art.
There's no soul in anything that I've read, like articles, like you could tell, like the biases from the people that are writing these pieces, what their stake in it is. But I've read some articles; they're just awful. They taste like they have no taste. They have no center. It tastes artificial. I mean, it reads artificial. But I mean, I guess that's the future now. I guess.
Like YouTube is all AI. Like,
Mhm.
oh, cool, a cool video about the Roman Empire. I'm interested in this. And then I'm 30 seconds in. I'm just like, this is just some AI garbage. I don't want to use the word slop. Everybody uses the word slop now. And
I don't know. There's some really fun stuff. Have you seen like Elvis in Star Trek? Elvis as Batman.
yeah, I watched what's his name from Arrest? Jeez, why can't I think of the actor's name? The guy from Taxi, Louis De Palma.
DeVito.
Yeah, Danny. I watched Danny DeVito in Lord of the Rings. That was funny. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the stuff like that is kind of cute. Yeah, I think it's kind of puts a smile on my face. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, JDA is such a clown. He's
I
such a
don't know. I just don't get it. I would be worried.
person who is so doesn't get human clues. Just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it.
No, but I would be worried, John. Like, does he proofread it, or does he just say done? Does he?
Look at this. Fun fact: Eerie featured Dracula stories. Dracula is created by Bram Stoker, and according to John's log, it's a ripoff. To such, dude, you are just a moron. If this is your logic, this is your logic.
I don't understand what he's trying to.
He's
But-
saying that I'm a jerk because I like Eerie, and Eerie uses Dracula because it's no different than AI.
But that does okay. That's kind of a stupid. Okay.
G- You know,
Hmm.
so is it okay to use other people's characters with permission? And if it's public domain, yeah, go ahead. But write those characters. If you want to write a story about Pinocchio, write a story about Pinocchio. It's public domain. It's perfectly legal. It's too perfect. Me, I don't particularly like it. ABA, write a story about Dracula. Key word here: write a story about Dracula.
John, go ahead. Sorry, Tony.
When I write something, and if it's good, I get into a zone. I forget about everything else. I'm in the thing. I'm not so much writing. I'm watching it and recording what I'm watching. You know what I mean? How would you want to rob yourself of that feeling?
Oh,
I
geez,
mean,
I made fun of him for Space Marines because it's a Warhammer ripoff. It's a Warhammer ripoff to the point where Kickstarter kicked your product off their website because they didn't want to get sued by Wizards of the Coast or what is it, GMA.
And here's the things when it comes to writing other people's characters or writing characters in general that have been used before. Everybody's done it. Everybody will do it. Same story has been told 100,000 times. But look at Pinocchio by Disney. Look at Pinocchio by Company A, B, and C are the one they had Monstro in Space. One of my favorite Pinocchios as a kid. And look at Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, right? If you haven't seen it, watch it. Bring tissues. That was I was like, where did this is Pinocchio. Clearly, here's the point. A, B, C, D. They hit all these points. It's Pinocchio. But this is not a Pinocchio movie. This is a movie about the human condition and time, and it's just, yeah. So you can take somebody's property or property that's been done before and recontextualize it and make it something your own. That's something AI can never do.
I'm a big fan of Robert Heinlein, JDA. I actually read novels, so I know Space Marines, but you have them in the service of an emperor, and you have the Custodes, and you have everything that Warhammer does. I mean, I know
you're too close to the sun.
I know you'll never get it because you're a sociopath and you just don't understand human behavior, but you're ripping off other people, pretending it's yours, and now you're doing AI because you're too lazy to continue. Oh, okay. All right. JD, okay, I'm sticking to my guns. Chat, make fun of him. I'm not acknowledging this clown. He's a blow up balloon on the side of the road. This is JD. Apparently put it in a furry costume.
He's a furry?
Yeah. JD, furry. Furries are fun. That's his own words. So there you go. I got nothing else to say. I'm going to go upstairs now and have some chips and dips and snacks with my wife.
Hey, John, before I let you go, yesterday you were talking to that guy and you said something I did not know. And I just kind of wanted to ask you to elaborate, maybe if you can. Was your boy Zach in an adult film?
Yes, he was. He didn't get naked. He didn't do any sex, but he was. I made the mistake of asking people, does anybody know what your boy Zach was in? And somebody sent me a link to the video. And apparently it's called Public Disgrace.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
appropriately named.
And it's a couple that have sex like in front of people, and they recruit like extras. So it's normal people from all walks of life just watching.
Uh-huh.
And he has the same haircut. He actually has a shirt that says Marines on it. Like he should have just had a shirt that said your boy Zach.
Wow.
It's in a shoe store, and
and the whole time he was looking for his keys in his pocket, right? He just couldn't find.
Well,
them.
he was with some girl. I don't want to say anything bad about the girl. I don't know her, but and then at one point, the girl that he's with is interacting with the girl that's doing the sex act, and he's holding an oar with a big condom on it. That's when I turned it off because I did not want to see the next scene. Yeah,
I did not know that. Thank you for elaborating. When you said that, I was like, no way.
If you go to my playlist, there's my response to your boy Zach, and there's a picture. It's from.
Yeah, I saw the thumbnail, but it was like, what the hell is this? It didn't even cross my mind.
That's from the video of you boy Zach.
Did he cough? Did he go?
Yeah, but I just think it's funny. He's talking about all these perverts and Marvel and stuff like that, and it's like here's a guy that has multiple children with multiple different women, doesn't live with any of them, not married to any of them, and then it's like once I saw that, I stopped listening to his videos, and then he insults me, because I had a criticism of a movie that I actually enjoyed, because you're supposed to just shut up and consume.
Well,
don't argue with my views. This is my channel. Everything I say is 100% correct.
Yeah. So anything anybody wants to say before we go?
Everyone have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I have a new stalker now because somebody is begging for my approval. What do you want me to say?
He doesn't realize that the people that don't like you, the same people that don't like him, are going to use this to eat him.
Right. All he did was pay somebody's mortgage for the month. Congratulations, JDA. Congratulations.
I got
you got me clipped. You got me clipped on Trashcast for another episode. Congratulations. I don't know if you're going to get tipped out by Comicsgate, but that's all you did. You didn't convince me. You didn't win anybody over. People who watch my channel don't particularly like you. All you did was you made us giggle, and you gave EVS content for another week so that he's not going to draw his stupid comic. Congratulations. Yeah. John's Long Box can't write a book as creative as my Space Marine. You win. You're the best, JDA. You are so cool. All 4'11" of you in your furry costume that looks like Winnie the Pooh is the best.
I like how he goes,
So
my Space Marines. He even calls them Space Marines.
Is this the real guy, or is this like the your boy Zach guy that commented? Is this the real JDA?
This sounds
the
like
real
JDA.
Yeah. This is what he does on New Year's Eve. He doesn't do anything original. He joins my chat trying to beg my approval. Dude, I don't like you, and I don't like your work. I bought your Space Marine book because I was curious. It was mediocre at best. You had, it was all I think is, okay, take out the grand religion of the emperor worship and put in Christianity. It's Warhammer. That's the only difference. That's the only difference. I like the art. The art wasn't too bad. Whoever your artist is, good. I'm not gonna lie, but it was okay. It was mediocre. If anybody wants, I will send them the copy of Lynn Renev or whatever that I have from JDA, and you could read it and compare it to Heroic Tales, and I'll listen to you. I also got that stupid book about. He sent it to me for free. That stupid book about Andrew Tate. I could care less about Andrew Tate. Harry books are garbage. But
The only thing about Andrew Tate that's decent is his first couple of years in his fighting career, he had some pretty good fights.
I literally never heard of him until I saw that he had a comic book coming out. And
I was just an old school MMA guy, brought in through pro wrestling from Japan. And so I got wind of him really early because I love kickboxing. And yeah, he had some really good early fights. He wasn't anything that I'd scream about. He's nowhere what you would call, the echelon of kickboxing. No, not even close.
All I know is it's snowing. Is that he like once I saw that EBS was doing a cover for his comic, I was like, who is this guy? He's making a comic book. And then I saw that he was like, why read for stupid people, and he's charging $99 for. I was like, this guy sounds like a scam artist. I didn't know that he was. I didn't know who he was. I thought he was like a YouTube person. Do you fight? Are you just a fan? Arkham.
What was that?
Do you fight, or are you just a fan?
No, I've trained. I used to in California. I would train at the Sheriff's Academy.
Cool.
Did some Filipino Kempo when I was younger. When I moved up here, did some Muay Thai and didn't do jiu-jitsu because of my knee. Now I found out why my knee's bad. It's from kickboxing. I got a cut meniscus, a horizontal cut in the back of my meniscus on my knee. And from doing, knees, impact knees, I have no cartilage on my right knee.
Every electrician sooner or later has to get some sort of surgery on their knees.
Yeah, and surprisingly, for how damaged my knee and my ankle are, I'm holding up pretty good for my age. From football and everything else. Don't get me wrong, it all hurts, but at least it hasn't fallen off yet.
Yeah, well, all right, Tony. Anything you want to say before we go?
Buy Heroic Tales. That's it. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. I've been on a much longer than I intended. I only intended to be on for an hour, but people come on and I start talking. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'm going to try to have the merchandise campaign. I don't know, maybe live in a week or so. That'll be my forever store. I'll be a giant size Punchline #1. Maybe we'll launch in April. Maybe and then in the comic stores over the summer. Patriarch #1 will be live sooner rather than later. I don't want to. I learned not to give exact dates because then you look foolish when you accept. But I'll just say sooner rather than later. And I'm working with a couple other artists for other stories. I got some that are not going to be in Longbox Comics continuity. And Eddie is Doomed should be. I'm hoping that we can get that out this year. All right. See ya. Thanks a lot, everybody. And that's it. And where's the buttons? At this point, say goodbye, kids.